Good afternoon, and welcome to Rebels on the road down in Cornwall. It's a place of which at some point there say might be a different country. And Mick has finally made it up to the dizzy heights of the gantry, which if you go to @MyFC Rebels Radio, you'll be able to see. We are in a makeshift gantry, aren't we, Mick?
Yes, it's a little bit. It's slightly higher than Lawrence's at home. It's about 12 foot off the ground. I am absolutely frightened to death of heights, and it took me about 20 minutes to walk up.
And the rest.
And the rest to walk. Okay. And I'm afraid there will be photographs available from our lovely
Gary House.
From Gary House, and he will be showing Adrian sat on a chair at the bottom, laughing his head off at me, desperately trying to overcome my incredible fear of walking up a ladder.
The two teams are just coming away to our right. It's a nice afternoon here in Truro, in quite an open stadium. Slough and Truro both coming out to the right-hand side, with Slough led by today's captain Ryan Parsons, dressed all in purple away kit. Truro at home, led by their skipper for the day, Dan Green, in an all-red outfit, all-red kit, and the referee of Mr. Richard Court, Mr. Lewis Ibston, and Mr. John Ignat is coming out from the right-hand side. It's quite a compact little arena, isn't it, Mick?
Yeah, it's quite nice actually. On the far side where the dugouts are, there are two quite nice stands. There's a little stand holding about 60 or 70 behind the goal to our left. Away to our right are all the hospitalities, the bar, the first aid, sponsors, porter cabins and various things. And down below us there is a stand. It holds about another 60, but that's obviously empty. And a standing area, and it's a very, very nice little ground.
And the players are just lining up ahead of us, just going through their handshakes as we stand here ready to get underway. At Truro City, in goal, number 1, Carl Moore, 2, Shane White, 3, Chris Long, 4, Jake Ash, 5, Rob Farkins, 6, Aaron Pugh, 7, Darren and Captain Dan Green, 8, James Lowry, 9, Craig Duff, 10, Cody Cook, who scored 2 during the week, and 11, Les Athful. And on the bench, number 12, the well-travelled Barry Hales, 17, Ryan Brett, 14, Ben Watson, 15, manager Steve Tully, 16, Miles James. And for the mighty Rebels, in goal, 1, Jake Somerville, 2, Sean Fraser, 3, and Captain Ryan Parsons, 4, Guy Hollis, 5, Rhys Shawk, 6, George Short, 7, Johnny Dyer, 8, Adrian Sear, 9, Scott Harris, 10, Jake Parson, and 11, James Dobson. And on the bench, 12, Tom Moran, 14, Luke Knight, 15, Adam Cornell, and 16, Darryl Thomas. So missing Clergy today for the Rebels. He's not injured. He's had a personal thing that he knows one of his best friends get married today. So it's a natural swap for Adrian Sear after his good performance last week against Bideford. He teams up with Short in the middle. And the only other real change is that Fraser comes in ahead of Moran. So Moran might feel a little bit hard done by, but I think just freshening it up. And Sean's always full of energy and very keen, as we're just waiting for the captains to come together and do the toss.
Yes, and you can just hear the team being announced. According to the team sheet, we've got Adrian Corwell on our bench. I've no idea who he is. I've never heard of him before, but I presume we will find out. Barry Hales, much travelled from Championship and lower down. Apparently still lives in London and makes the long trip down to Truro every week. He's had 7 starts this season, 5 appearances as a substitute, and scored a couple of goals. He's 42 years old, but at this level, you can still do it, I think. He's an international. He's an ex-international, so...
Yeah, I think he played for England C at one point in his travels, but he's played Premiership, he's played for Fulham and Sheffield United, amongst other clubs, but he's certainly been around. But the 42-year-old's on the bench. Slough lined up in the half to the left-hand side, I would say. A good number of people in front of the low Truro, the kind of change rooms and facilities to the right-hand side, and it looks like we're going to stay as we are. So Slough will be shooting from left to right, slightly up a hill on this. Talking to the players is a good surface down here today at Truro Road. And the referee just seems to be ready to get things underway in this exciting game. Truro City currently sitting, having played a game more, in the 5th position, so in playoff position. I'm just handing the stopwatch over to Mick so that we're aware of what's going on. But if this is your first time tuning into Rebels Radio, obviously I know a few Slough fans may not have been able to make the journey. It's a little bit of a distance. Welcome along. Please contact us at MyFC Rebels Radio or through the MyFC forum, and hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions, or if there's any problems, the sound's bad, whatever it might be, we will do whatever we can, as we're just about to get underway with Truro taking the kick-off and immediately passing it back, and they immediately knock it out long from Jake Ash. down into the right-hand channel, but well repelled by skipper Ryan Parsons. And the ball's going all the way through to Jake Summerall, away to our left, dressed in all orange today with his yellow boots. It's a bit of a hideous clash, but he's just bowled the ball out in front of him, and he's just going to take a moment to set up. Slough playing a 4-4-2 with Fraser right back, Ryan Parsons left back, Hollis and York in the centre. And then the four in midfield. On the right, Jake Parsons. In the middle, Adrian Sears and George Short. And on the left, Dobbo. And then up front, the physical pairing of Johnny Dyer and Scott Harris. So it'll be interesting to see how the Rebels build this in this Southwest doubleheader. Obviously, they had Bideford at home last week, and they had a really good second half performance and won 4-1. And now up against a Truro side who must have a little bit of an advantage, having not have to travel as far as the Slough players today.
Well, I think that's it. The Slough set off at 9 o'clock this morning. It's been quite a long trip for them. The supporters bus came down, apparently 21 on it, so we haven't exactly got a great support, but it's a long way for them. I mean, I've come 400 miles, that's a different issue, but there's probably 21, and I think one or two will have possibly made it down by car. The players came down by car, didn't they?
Yeah, we did. We came in 5 cars this morning. All the management team and non-players. Adam Fowler drove a car down, knowing that he wasn't going to be involved today. So giving all the players a rest. None of them drove, but it was still at least a good 4.5 hours in the car, even with a good stop. You're not missing much of the action just at the moment. The ball's out on the far side with Ryan Parsons taking a throw in. Game's yet to settle down. It is quite compact, and Truro, particularly the back centre two of Farkins and Pugh, seem quite big physical specimens.
Well, you look at Scott Harris in front of
he's absolutely dwarfed there, Pugh, isn't he?
He only comes up to his shoulder, bless him.
Yeah, he makes short look short.
He does make short look short. He's going to have to, if they're going to play it up to Scott, he's going to have to play it on it to his feet, because he's not going to win anything in the air against that lad. He must be 6'4".
Please let us know how the Ryder Cup's going on as well. Obviously not a footballing event, but we're quite interested, as Hollis, under a little bit of pressure in the far corner there, hooks the ball away, and Parsons helps it on its way, but it's still in the Slough half as Truro looking to get the ball into the Slough box, and there's a little bit of communication there between Fraser and Somerville, and Fraser will bring the ball away in the deep right-hand right-back position. Long ball to Johnny Dyer, controls it on his chest well, but pickpocketed there by Pugh, who comes into the left position, but Johnny Dyer blocks it. Short now has the opportunity in midfield to play a ball through to Scott Harris's feet, holds it up well, but quick, sharp challenge in for Farkins. It's bouncing around in midfield, and now Captain Green bursting through midfield, midway inside the Slough half, plays a short ball through to the feet of Cook, and out now right. Truro City pressing in this half, playing the ball on the edge of the box. They go for the return ball. It's over hit, and it's gone out for a goal kick, which will alleviate Slough. But Truro looking to knock the ball around there well in the first few minutes here.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, they're only they're roughly mid-table, the same as we are. But that was a bit of a bright start from them.
They're fifth.
What?
They're fifth.
Who?
Truro.
Truro?
Yeah.
What?
They're fifth.
Fifth?
Yeah. You said they're mid-table.
Yeah, no, I meant Bideford then in that case.
Oh well, that was last week, Mick. I know.
Yes,
I know. It took you an age to get up this gantry, up the stairs. As Sears fouled in midfield, but referee plays a good advantage there early, and York's put his foot on the ball. But now Jake Parsons, almost on the halfway line for Slough. Ball on the ball to Fraser. Fraser back to Parsons. Parsons now chips the ball inside to Sear, who's got a little bit of space in front of him. Bad first touch though, just kind of gets levered off it, and little Les Affle picks the ball off his feet, and then there's a hefty challenge. Although it looked like there was a bit of advantage there, and then a hefty challenge which the referee, Mr. Corp, is stamping his authority on. Slough awarded a free kick, but Adrian Sear was left on his bum from captain. I think it was Dan Green going through, or was it the centre back Farkins?
But he could have played advantage and then called a player back when the ball went out of play for either a goal or a goal kick or a corner.
But this will be an opportunity for Slough, one of only 3 league games today because of the FA Cups, and the Slough fans behind that goal to our right are actually making their voices heard, and the referee's just pulling over the Truro City player, just saying, I don't want absolutely any of that. There's absolutely no nonsense in there, but Dobson's lining up this free kick left of centre, probably 25 to 30 yards from goal. There's a 4-man Truro City wall behind it, and the keeper, Moore, in a turquoise kit, is lining up his wall. The referee's just making sure they're back the full 10 yards as Dobson, like a rugby player, just making himself in the position he wants, but it will be a shot on target from here. Steps up, curls it round the wall, and just over the bar. It looked probably a little bit closer than it probably actually was from our angle up here, but a good effort, and that's the sort of thing that you really want to test the keeper with.
Yes, it went past the keeper's right-hand post, and I think he had it covered, but it was a good effort, and I suppose we could have played advantage, but when you get a free kick 22, 23 yards out, maybe Dobson's a good player to take it, so it could have worked in our advantage, but I still think he should have played advantage, but maybe he just wants to stamp his authority early on, which he did.
Moore gets the game back underway, and once again it drops to green in the middle for Truro City, but ball bouncing around a lot in there, and it's now Ash who heads the ball on, but Hollis now up in the air. Ball's not spending a lot of time. The pitch is quite hard. There's plenty of physicality out there at the moment. Ball breaks to Jake Parsons. He tries to play a ball through to Harris. Bad defending though, and it falls back to Parsons, and now he's got an opportunity to put it out right to Johnny Dye. Just a breakdown in communications, rolls harmlessly out for a throw into Truro City, midway inside their own half on the left-hand side.
Yeah, he pushed it behind him.
Physical battle here with Fraser underneath us, and Short hooks the ball forward up in the direction of Dobson. Dobson attacks the ball, flicks it on nicely for Harris, but good defending from the right back, White, who comes across there all the way back to Fraser now. Fraser up to Jake Parsons, who's been involved a lot early on, cuts inside, leaves it for Short. Short now pursued by 3 or 4 Truro City players who just pinch it off him, and now Lowry in the centre of the park will look to pass it all the way across right to Shane White on halfway, who then sets it up for the long tall figure of Duff on the far side, but Duff can't quite control it, and he gives Hollis a little opportunity there, and Hollis does enough to get the ball through, and then Dobson does well to flick the ball over, flicks it over twice, seemed to be a handball on a halfway line, and the locals aren't very happy with that decision, but it was. He did put his hands up way above his head and block the ball.
And James Dobson wasn't very happy with the decision either, because he had advantage and he was on his own, clearing the centre of the field, and he was a little bit annoyed that the referee pulled it back. And I think he was just a little bit quick, was the ref. If he'd have seen the advantage there, we could have played on. But we've got the free kick just inside the Truro half, and it's Ryan Parsons to take it.
Yeah, captain for the day, Ryan Parsons. 2 yards inside the Truro City half, left of the centre circle, looks to deliver a ball towards the far post, towards Short, and York's after it, but it's well defended there. But the second ball's falling to Parsons, and Parsons charging into the box. It runs into a Truro City player, and they get it away up as far as halfway line. And I think we're being joined, because I can hear some rattles as we are, as the ball's cleared once again, long by Parsons, and a few of the Slough players are after it. And it's going to bounce all the way through, I think, to Moore to have it, but it's a foul adjudged by Scott Harris. He's not overly impressed, but he's still agreeing with the decision overall. He's got his arms out, but it was a bit of a silly challenge just on the edge of their own box.
It was a little bit. We've had the Truro camera nicked from in front of us. Hopefully this chap who's got it is authorised to do that, I think.
Yeah, I recognised him earlier in the day.
Yeah,
he's a lot quicker hit than you, Mick, so I wouldn't say anything about him. As the game's yet to settle, and Dobson tries to fire a long ball for Harris, and Harris is now up against the tall Pugh, and Harris and Pugh are having a right old battle there. The assistant on the near side signals that it's a free kick to Truro City. They'll have the opportunity to bring the ball away with Long in the left back position, looking to hit the ball long down the line, and York's up there. Comes past the back of the Truro attacker and heads the ball out for a Truro City throw. 10 yards inside the Slough half in the right back position. Quickly taken by Long inside to Ash. Ash looking for a long ball, diagonal, testing skipper Parsons, but it's overhit with a little bit of a breeze behind it to Somerville in the goal to our left. How long have we played, Mick?
We have played 8 minutes and 21 seconds.
And there hasn't really been a clear chance as yet. Dobson had a free kick. It may have, tested more a little bit, but it didn't, and that was really the game's yet to settle. There's a lot of long balls coming through, and Hollis goes agricultural there and hits the ball high in the air, and now it'll fall to Cook, and Cook doesn't win it enough, and a long ball through from Short. Just a lack of composure from both teams in these early stages. There
is a little bit, and this ground is quite high up, and I can see when it's windy. I think playing it on the ground would be more than acceptable. Yeah, it's in the air quite a lot at the moment. It's not a windy day.
There's been an Indian summer around these parts and in this area, and Sears is just to adjust to a foul there, midway inside the Slough half. He's just letting Mr. Court know that he's not in agreement with his decision. Once again, seems to be at the centre of number 4, with a white wristband on his left wrist, is just looking to take the free kick, but he's now left it for Lowry. The very dead centre of the pitch. He's just looking to see, is he going to deliver it into the box? There's plenty of interest. All the players haggling around the back post, and it's pushed in there. Reshort uses his body well to just divert Pugh, who's coming in at the far post, and it's harmlessly out for a goal kick to Slough.
But that was a decent move from Truro, but as you say, he just got his body in the way nicely, and it went harmlessly wide. Jake in his wonderful luminous orange kit. Has he got a selection of these of horrendous kits?
Yeah, I believe there's even a pink one floating around, but I think because Trent's been signed on as a goalkeeper kit, they need to get one that would fit Trent's generous sizing, shall we say. I hope Trent's listening. Hi, Trent. And I believe there is a pink number around. I'm not sure whether that is actually come out or whether that was just rumour and gossip. But the ball's bouncing around and it's out to an attacking throw, and it's an early throw, looked to be taken by Affle on the near side, but he's been slowed down. Looked like a foul throw, but it's all the way back now. Truro City just pushing a little bit down the right hand side, and once again Ash in the middle of midfield takes his time and plays a long diagonal ball out to the right hand side to the right back White. White tries to deliver it into the box, but it comes out harmlessly, but it's again once more falling to Ash in the centre of midfield, passes it out right to Duff. Duff now further out right. Truro City just enjoying keeping a bit of possession here. They seem to have plenty of space on this tight compact space. Slough getting plenty of bodies behind the ball, but a long aimless ball there goes through all the way to Somerville in the goal away to our left hand side.
And when you say it's a compact ground, it is. When you look at the touchlines in front of us, there's only a yard and a half between the touchline and the boards, and somebody could come a bit
some
of
of it was clearance, long aimed up in the direction of Johnny Dyer, who got a bit of an elbow in the face. I don't think there was anything deliberate there, but it is a head injury, and it'll be interesting to see if the referee stops it. He's going to have to stop it now, and he does stop it because it was a head injury. Meanwhile, make sure the ball goes up the right end of the field as far as Slough are concerned. So both teams managing to rearrange this fixture as they both lost it to lower league opposition 2 Saturdays ago in the first round of the FA Cup. Disappointingly, obviously, Slough lost 2-1 at home to Ardley United. Similarly, there was a local game here where I believe the team here, Truro City, lost 2-0 to Larkhill Athletic, who are in the South and West Division 1 below them. So they managed to, because Slough are due to play here in mid-November, but it would have been on a trophy next round game. So if they win at Margate, or if Truro had won their game, then that would have meant that it wasn't a Saturday game, it would have had to be postponed, and then the thought of trying to come down here on a Tuesday night would have been very, very difficult.
Tuesday night in the middle of winter, when you've no guarantee that it won't snow halfway down the M5, and then it's called off and you've got to go home with nothing. So it is sensible, even though I have booked a weekend in Truro in November, but never mind.
So what are we doing with that weekend, Mick? Where are we going? Are we going somewhere nice?
No, we're just coming down here again.
Johnny Dyer just getting treated on the far side by Super Kev. He's off the pitch now. There's a drop ball, and it's kicked well back to Somerville in a good sporting gesture. It seems to be played in these early stages, and although it's quite a physical game, it's been played in good spirits.
Yes, it has. There's not... nobody's been jumping in and trying to kill anybody, have they?
Once again, Truro City on the attack here. Drive a ball towards the edge of the box. Cut out well by York, but it's only up in the air. It's going to fall in the direction of Cook, and Cook happy to let this one go out. So the first corner of the game, after about 11 minutes or so, is down in the far side as we look at it, and it's going to be their first opportunity for Truro City to get the ball into the Slough box and see from a set play. There's a small, almost like hockey-like stand behind the goal away to our left. It's probably no more than 30 seats or so, but it's quite compact. It's quite cute, isn't it?
60 seats, I've counted them.
Okay, was that why you were stood in no man's land halfway up the gantry?
No, I couldn't see, apart from the beautiful view behind into the countryside.
And
you'll keep mentioning that, won't you?
I will. It looks to be the right-footed Lowry on the far side with an outswing corner. Plenty of players bouncing in around the back of the box. It's delivered up long into the mid area, and it's headed by... It's headed in there. It was kind of bundled across by Farkins at the back post. He had a bounce, and it hit Somerville, came back at the far post, and then he just seemed to run out of play. But he was appealing very much that it should be another corner. But that was probably a better opportunity than gave it. He seemed to almost roll off his chest or something.
Yes, it was. But he's complaining it should have been a corner, but there's absolutely no way. Jake did play it onto him. It bounced back on him and went out of play. Jake never got another touch, so he's whinging for nothing. He's still having a little go there. It's Dan Green having another go, the captain, and he's still complaining. Bless his little cotton socks.
So greetings to Cornwall from wherever you're listening all around the world. Please do let us know. Contact us at MyFC Rebels Radio. Just mention it. Let us know where you're listening through. What are you doing during this commentary? I know there are people who would have liked to have been here and are having to tune in and follow it via Twitter and things like that. Please let us know who you are. If any predictions, any questions that you might have, do contact us during the game. It will help us, and it will hopefully entertain or support you, as Dobson in the very left back position clips the ball long in the direction of Harris, but it's ducked under all the way through to the keeper of Moore to our right hand side, and Slough just a little bit under the cosh at the moment. They're struggling to get out.
They are a little bit, but it is a little bit formless. Nobody's really stamped their authority on it, although we are reasonably midfield this week with Adrian's here.
Yeah, just a little bit of a lack of quality. Both teams still filling each other out. There was a short interplay there, but it resulted in Fraser clearing the ball, but then the Truro 3 ball just went harmlessly out for a goal kick. And as yet, you wouldn't say one team or other really has got their foot on the ball and kind of taken control of the game as yet.
No, I mean Adrian Sear last week dominated that second half, man of the match for the 45 minutes he played, and well deserved in many ways, although Scott Harris's 2 goals were fantastic. But he's possibly had a bit of a tussle this week in midfield.
Yeah, from the early outsets, it looks like Truro City have got quite a few physical players, especially in their backlines. As once again, the tall figure of Farkins beats Harris in the challenge and heads the ball forward, and they may have the opportunity to attack as the ball's bubbling around in midfield, but Short speeded it up 10 yards inside his own half. A ball along the deck to Johnny Dyer, whose first time pass doesn't find its intended target, but then Truro City very generously give the ball back, and then both centre midfielders slide on in, and the bench over the far side are appealing for a free kick there as Parsons slid in but missed the ball, and it's out for a goal kick. And the assistant on the far side just being a little bit pernickety about where Ryan Parsons takes this throw from. Yeah,
but he was near. I mean, the bench can say what they like, but that was about 5 yards in front of the linesman, so there's no way he could have probably got that. Well, he didn't get it wrong, as simple as that, and they can whinge all they like.
Hope the audio quality that's through to you is okay. We're kind of out the wind here at least, and Hollis comes through with a very strong tackle, and he just got clipped there by the attacker of Cook, who just left his foot in a little bit, and it can't all go one way. And again, a few of the locals, perhaps wearing rose-tinted glasses, weren't fully happy with that. But we've played almost 15 minutes here, just over the quarter of an hour here. There's 2 nice Slough flags away to our right-hand side, the Slough Town Rebels and Slough Town Rebels on tour. I think people have hopefully made a weekend of it. I know it was reasonably short notice for people to come down here, but it's a good turnout that away to our goal. I can see quite a few purple shirts, a few yellow shirts, and they're certainly making a little bit of noise, letting themselves know. There's a free kick from Parsons on halfway. Finds Short on the edge of the box, back to Sears. Sears' touch is heavy, but he's bundled the ball through. Out to Johnny Dyer. Johnny Dyer now out to Dobson. Dobson will deliver the ball along the floor. It's gone all the way across goal. It's back to Parsons. Parsons fires it back across, but overhit, and Dobson may have another opportunity, but Slough just needed to get a foot on the ball there. Dobson trips over himself and the ball, but he's still got the ball around amongst 3 or 4 Truro City players, and a strong tackle, and a goal kick is the end of the result, but that was a great ball in from Dobson, which had them on the back foot there.
Yes, it did. And I think it was a shot that was badly timed, but it went straight back to Dobbo. Unfortunately, had 2 players round him. He beat one of them, couldn't beat the other, fell over, and going for it, he's put it out for a goal kick. The keeper's right-hand side.
Farkins is just changing his boots just off the pitch behind the goal, and he seemed to be exchanging a few frank views with a small number of Slough fans that have done that. There seemed to be a little bit of biting back and forth as one of the coaches from Truro City just gave him a different pair of boots. Perhaps he's onto moulds, because it looks from up here it's quite a hard surface. Speaking to Johnny Dyer earlier, though, he said it was a nice, good surface as we just await for more to get play underway on the right hand side as we look at it. It remains goalless.
It certainly doesn't look bumpy.
No,
for sure.
It's not bumpy. As Reshort wins that header well above Cook, but it's then returned, and Reshort has another go at it as well as Short. And now Truro trying to get a foot on the ball with their skipper, playing out wide left to the left back Long, who chips the ball forward. Taken well into control, turned well. Somerville comes out, blocks a good effort there, but that was clever play there from Truro, and they're frustrated with that. But Somerville did very well, came out just as there was a good bit of trickery there on the edge of the box from Duff, who chipped it over the attacking defender, flicked it itself on left hand edge of the box, tried to lift it over Somerville, but Somerville was too close, and that was the first real good chance of the game, wasn't it, Mick?
And it was well anticipated by Jake as well, because that was on target, so very well done. And we've got a throw in just in front of us below our little
Duff looking sharp, and Fraser just with the throw, but that was a first threat for Slough, but Somerville did very well there, coming out short. The defenders were a bit static, and Harris, using his strength, tries to combine with Johnny Dyer, but it's only found Parsons. Parsons chips the ball into the corner, and Harris is after it. The keeper's coming out. Harris wins it. He's squared it across, but well cleared there by Farkins. But Johnny Dyer had to go for that ball. I'm not sure why the assistant was doing it. I mean, they had to challenge each other, didn't they, in there? And Farkins is making the most of it.
I think he did catch the defender, and I think it was a free kick, but the keeper was beating all ends up, and if the full-back hadn't been back there, I think we'd have scored there. And Johnny Dyer was shaking his head, but no, it was definitely a free kick.
Yeah, Johnny Dyer just he's got a very fine beard. It's getting a little bit longer as the game gets longer. As Moore clears it long, and Rhys York up against Rhys York once again wins the footer. Sear just got ahead of the Dan Green there, and the locals are not very happy with that. But he did clearly get ahead of the captain there, and he just caught him. So it's the referee actually, I think for now, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on him, seems to be doing reasonably well as Rhys York drives the long ball out in the direction of Dobson. Dobson heads it back into Scott Harris, who's using his strength in the box, turns and slices the ball over the bar, but he did well because he held off Farkins using his body strength, turned and levered himself, but as he was falling away, the ball bounced up and he just sliced it over the bar. But that again was a good chance for Slough.
Yes, that would have been a little bit lower. It could well have been on target, but it was a good chance. And he did. He used his strength well, turned the defender just that little bit too high. But that's promising for Slough. Very, very promising for Slough.
What's it promising?
It's promising. We might get a goal.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going there. I was just checking. As the long clearance comes up, and once again York, although he had his back slightly turned, won it there. There's a lot of physicality out there, and again Fraser slices that one out, and
Fraser and Hollis
seem to be trying to play a very good tempo here, and conceded a corner now, putting Slough under a little bit of pressure. 20 minutes gone in the first half, it remains goalless, and there's going to be a corner which Lowry will take on the near side to us. Slough pulling everyone back apart from Scott Harris, who's staying on the halfway line, and looking to do it short. Truro City looking to do it short, but the captain pulling out their green to the left-hand side, but the signal is of one signal. What that means we don't know, as Parsons takes up his position at the near post. Well headed out by Johnny Dye, but it's only away for another corner. Slough under a little bit of pressure here.
Exactly 100 seats in that little stand behind the goal.
Oh, for God's sake.
Just thought you'd know.
I thought you said it was 60 earlier.
I did. I always underestimate. There's
bloody learned to
100 seats. Not from Yorkshire, for God's sake.
I thought you Northerners knew how to do this sort of stuff.
Well, I made a better effort than you. You couldn't even count it.
I didn't bother. I think there's a difference there, as we're just waiting for Lowry to take the corner into the near post. Well flicked on by Rhys York. It was an important header because there was a crowd of bodies in there. And once again, the physical Farkins on that far side with Dobson. Dobson does well to hook the ball in, and Short now clears up towards halfway, but it's only going to fall to right back White. White chips the ball in towards the far post. Plenty of acres of space, and it's the first goal there for Craig Duff. He was found in acres of space. Slough defenders have gone missing. 22 minutes gone, and a goal for Truro City.
Yes, I'm afraid Craig Duff was left on his own there at the edge of the penalty area. He took it down well, hit it first time past Somerville's right hand, and it's 1-0. I suppose in some ways it has been threatened. Unfortunately, with a goal down.
Yeah. So Slough trail 1-0. A good competent finish, but he had acres of space towards the edge of the box. The ball bounced up, and as Somerville came out, he kind of volleyed it away to Jake's right hand side and into the left hand corner of the goal as we look at it.
Yeah, so he's plenty of time to put that in.
So Slough trail, it'll be interesting to see their response now as the ball's out with Fraser in the right back position. Chips the ball forward, but not with anyone in particular. Truro City now with their tails out. Sean Fraser just gave a little shove there as he retreated, but plenty of time for Searsey, and Searsey hits the ball up and flicked on well by Harris to Johnny Dye. Johnny Dye got the ball trapped under his feet, outright to Parsons. Parsons now, Jake that is, attacking on the right side, into the edge of the box, flicks the ball, it's going harmlessly through. He's appealing for a handball. I don't think there was too much in there. But it's safely in Moore's arms. But
it hit his thigh if it hit anything at all. There's no way it was a penalty. It was a desperate shout.
Yeah, very, very, very robust defending, I would say, back in the Truro defence. Johnny Dyer and Scott Harris are certainly going to have a battle out there today, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
As the ball falls to Parsons on halfway line, hooks it out left in the direction of Scott Harris. Scott Harris underneath it, but cleared by Truro, but not very far. And as far as Dobson now, Harris has got an opportunity to turn, plays it to Dyer's feet. Dyer does a couple of tricks, but just loses position. Nutmegs the outright to Parsons. Slough woken up by this goal, attacking now. Jake Parsons tries to get the ball in, but it's blocked there well by Chris Long in the left back position, and Slough trying to respond immediately to going a goal down here. We're midway through this first half, and Slough fans behind the goal to our right are just starting to make a little bit of noise. So Searsey just managed to keep the ball in. Now Fraser, left-footed, chips it into the box, into the direction of Harris, and Johnny Dye was almost on it, but Moore came out, and Moore on his bottom at the moment. With he doesn't seem to be making too much of a meal of it. He's getting on with it, and Truro come through that latest attack from Slough.
I think Johnny Dye made sure that the keeper knew was coming in for that one.
And I think it may not even be for this one. I think it may be for the next one.
There's a free kick now to Truro, and that looked like Lazar Affle backing in to Ryan Parsons, who was trying to hold him off. It's one of those, could have gone either way for the forward backing in or Ryan Parsons preventing him from going forward. We've lost out this time, so it's a free kick
to Truro, yeah, midway inside the half. It's very similar to a free kick they had earlier, where up through the back, Farkins came through, and it's played out to the right-hand side to the short figure of Affle on the right-hand side, up against Ryan Parsons. Chips the ball across, only finds Dobson. It's out back to Affle on the far side, edge of the box, back, and now driven into the box, headed well by Short, and now Jake Parsons does his best to try to retrieve the situation and clear the ball, but it's still back deep in the Slough half. They look to get the ball in the box. Ash, short ball, undersold it a little bit, and now Fraser very keen at chipping away at the heels there of Duff, but Affle now with the ball tries to pass the ball through the midfield. It's bobbling around in there. Slough need to clear this, and a shot on the turn by goal scorer Duff, and it's harmlessly wide, but Slough a little bit of 6s and 7s back there.
Yes, they were a little bit, unfortunately. We need to at least keep it to 1-0, try and get a goal before half time, and then do what we did against Bideford and come out and blitz them in the second half.
Yeah, the management team on the far side, as we look at it on the bench to the right hand side, just having a look at it, just trying to sort it out a little bit. It's interesting to see exactly how Truro are playing. They're almost playing a kind of it's a fluid system. It looks a bit like a 4-5-1 really, with the mainstay of Cook up front by himself, and then the other four in midfield switching around a little bit as Cook does well and wins the ball, and Ryan Parsons, under pressure from Affle, seemed to be getting fouled and hooks the ball over his head and out for another Truro City throw. 10 yards inside the Slough half on the far side, just in front of their own dugout. What do you make of this opening 26-27 minutes, Mick?
I think Truro had the slightly better of it, if truth be told, but neither side have really stamped their authority on it. I think Truro have been the slightly better team, and we just need to keep a lid on it just at the moment.
Yeah.
We need somebody like Adrian in midfield, like he did last week, to take control, which he's not been allowed to do. To be fair, it's not that he's having a bad game, but he's not been allowed to take control like he did in the second half.
As once again, Truro trying to drive the ball into the box. It's a flashed across from the edge of the 18-yard box, but all the way past all players and out for a goal kick. And Slough be just happy just to consolidate, I think, here for the next 5 minutes or so, restrict them to chances. I mean, there have been a few chances going forward for Slough, but it's just that final little bit of quality that they seem to be lacking somewhat.
Yeah,
it's fine margins.
Yeah, it's a final ball. It's a final ball. Last week we had no final ball, no first ball, no second ball or third ball. This week it is just the final ball that is missing.
Dobson up against White on that far side, and does well, wins the ball back to Johnny Dyer. Now Parsons overlapping, tries to play the ball, but plays it blind, and he only finds Captain Green in the midfield, and Green up long to Cook, and Cook handballed it, and now he's trying to kick the ball away. He's got a bit of attitude there, and just seeming to just a bit of gamesmanship there coming in there from.
Well, he wanted to make sure the defence got back, because I think he was definitely thinking we were going to take a quick free kick, and he was determined. I think that Guy Hollis wasn't going to take the free kick, and has achieved his objective, to be fair. Referee hasn't had a word with him.
So the vast majority of the 22 players all in and around the Truro City boxes. Parsons on the halfway line from deep out left, plays a low ball in. Scott Harris has time to control it, miscontrols it, but then it's hooked clear by Ash, only as far as Fraser on halfway line. But now Truro, if they're smart, will get the ball away, but great covering there by Sear, and back to captain Ryan Parsons in the left back position, flicks it on, and a strong tackle comes through, and a free kick conceded as George Short's left clattered there, and the Truro City fans support them, and some of the locals aren't very happy with that decision.
Well, Adrian Pugh just slammed straight into the back of him. You can have no real argument about that. There were 4 or 5 City players whinging about that, but he trampled all over him.
Yeah, he made sure made sure that he got man and ball there. So it was.
Yeah, he took the man before the ball. That's for sure.
This will be another opportunity for Dobson. It's a little bit further away, this effort though. It's going to be perhaps 30-35 yards out, dead centre of goal. Once again, a Truro City. This time a 3-man wall for Truro City. And if Dobson's going to have a strike, it'll be quite ambitious from here. The referee, Dobson's just asking for the referee to make sure that the ball's back its allotted distance.
They're not.
And they're not. He's driven it low across the ground. It was in the direction of Johnny Dyer, but it's sliced out off the intercepting Truro City defence, and it'll be an attacking corner to Slough, their first of the game.
And the sooner we get.
And now the referee's booking one of the Truro City players. He said he's heard enough. He's heard enough, and he's calling him across, and he's just saying that's enough. I'm not happy with that. Stop talking. Get on with it. And the book's come out, and I believe that looked like number 8 Lowry, if I'm not mistaken.
It could well be. He's chipped at him. You can only take so much. The free kick's been given. Get on with the game.
Yeah, get on with the game. So actually, I think it might have been Farkins booked as the corner comes in from Dobson. Well flicked on by Truro City, and they're going to have the opportunity to bring the ball away. They've miscontrolled it though, and they're just small little bits of gamesmanship, just throwing the ball away here and there. But have you made a note of that booking, Mick?
I will do. That linesman's gave the throw in to Truro, and the referees overruled him.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a Truro throw, but Truro now certainly being a bit more physical and Scott Harris is just interested. The locals are giving some ironic cheers as just to say there. Occasional budding. Sorry, Peter, I'm just getting some sound from Mick is muffled, clipping and lacking top. Apparently, Mick, you're lacking top.
I'm lacking top.
I don't know what sort of top you're lacking.
I imagine I'm more middle than top if you've seen photographs.
You are a little bit more middle than top.
Have I got more?
Apologies for the occasional clicking. We are using battery today, which sometimes does affect the quality of the sound. But please do contact us at MyFC Rebels Radio. If you're joining us late on, we've played half an hour here. Slough trail 1-0 to a goal by Craig Duff, unmarked towards the edge of the box after about 22 minutes. So
we are 15 foot off the ground.
No more than Truro City really probably deserve at the moment. It's a physical battle out there, and Slough at the moment are being outfought, I would say, more than anything by Truro. And Truro once again looking to get the ball into the box. It will fall to Cook in the far side, and it's he's given a corner. Again, he's overruled the assistant on the far side.
Linesman gave a goal kick. Referee was slightly nearer, gave the corner, and then suddenly the linesman pointed at the corner flag.
Yes,
he's certainly making his own decisions. The referee. Oh, hang on.
The referees now. Johnny Dyer might be getting in trouble. Johnny Dyer's mouth would never let him down, would it, Mick?
No, surely not. I can't believe that little Angel said anything. But the referee's not very happy. Hands behind the back, the schoolmaster approach, and he's told him to just go back, sit in his seat. Oh, hang on, he's had a go. And
Johnny Dyer's kept on talking, and Johnny Dyer is also booked. So
31 minutes gone.
31 minutes. Johnny Dyer has added to his booking, which we could probably do without, because he's a central figure to Slough as Truro's corner. Johnny Dyer heads it only to the edge of the box as far as Ash. Ash, wild slash volley, miles over the bar, and the let off there for Slough. And no hurry to get the ball back, and the referee's just to talk. I think Johnny Dyer's just having a little word and just signalling to him, and I think he's signalling to the bench just to say, okay, well, I've taken it on board. I'm going to calm down. I'm not going to say too much more.
But the referee gave him a talking to. The schoolmaster approached and said, go away. And as he went away, he's obviously questioned his parentage or something and got himself caught. He's only got himself to blame. Very, very foolish.
Affle clips the ball up the line, but it's out harmlessly. And there seems to be a drum has arrived down in the far right hand side. I'm not sure whose drum it is, but there's a man playing a drum. Or is it the table?
There's a fellow with a flat nose playing a drum, fellow with a flat cap. Phil Collins has arrived, I think.
Phil Collins, no gorilla, but just Phil Collins as the ball's bouncing around in midfield again, and Sears making a nuisance of himself, trying to hold Truro City up here, and a long ball angled into the corner, which has Fraser backtracking. He's pursued by Cook, trying to prevent the ball going out for a goal kick, and he's done that, and the ball's played up the line long. Truro City trying to keep the ball in, but it's fallen out to Fraser on the near side. There isn't a lot of space between the edge of the pitch and the stand. The fans are literally on top of the players here, aren't they?
It's about a yard and a half. It's very, very close, and probably maximum of 2 yards behind each goal.
And once again, ball spending an awful lot of time in the air, which I don't think Slough will be too happy with. I think the management team of Unders and Bakes will want them to play a little bit more on the ground. And once again, Truro City looking for a lot of crossfield balls. It looks like White on that right hand side is a good out ball, and he wins the corner over in the far right hand side against Parsons. And once again, there'll be an opportunity for Truro City to throw the big boys forward as we go into the 34th minute here at Truro Road, and Truro are going to look to double their lead.
I hope not. I really hope they don't. But they've got 8 men up.
As the ball's driven in low. It was very brave defending by George Short, and it's still bouncing around in the area. There's lots of appeals there, but I'm not sure what for. And then the ball comes out, and Ash is even less close than he was last time. And that's almost in the bushes. That's almost in the sea, and the sea's quite a long way from here.
He's nearly disappeared down towards the town. Oh no, the town's over there. But it's somebody's going to have to go and fetch some little kids gone over for that
Quick
one.
Kick taken by Somerville. Heads it well headed well inside by Johnny Dyer to Dobson, and it's out for a Slough throw in front of the Truro bench, and you can hear that Underwood is not at all happy there with Underwood's not at all happy there
Bakes.
With no, it's John Underwood. I think it says something, and Bakes, and he's going over to talk to them because I think certainly Bakes let his feelings know, but I could hear off mic that Underwood was using some fruity language, shall we say.
Do we call it industrial language?
You can call it industrial, I'd call it pub 5 pints sort of language. Clearly
Without
not happy with
slurring.
how the referee's been there. But I don't think this is wise necessarily. It's not going to endear the many fans.
No.
But the referee, Mr. Corp, who's been more and more a central figure, has gone over there. And John Underwood wouldn't still talking to him, still carried on. The referee came away, and John Underwood just carried on talking to him there. And he's now there's a bit of death stare going on from John Underwood, which, considering he's got a lack of hair, can look quite serious as the ball's bouncing all the way through, and Johnny Dyer's going to do his best to try and put the pressure on Farkins in that right hand corner, and he does well, blocks it to George Short. George Short back to Johnny Dyer, who's very motivated, falls to George Short, edge of the box, pulls a volley, and it's White had more flying after that ball. He wasn't sure that was going wide of his right hand upright, but it did. That was a good chance for Slough. George Short positive there in taking that shot on.
Well, that's one of the best chances we had, and the keeper really had to go for that. Like you say, that can't have been that far wide, and he certainly wasn't sure it was going wide. Very, very good effort.
Trent, for what Trent, we're doing okay. We haven't mentioned too much about you or why you're not here, but thoughts are with you today. And at the moment, not playing too badly, but Truro City on top, and they're a goal to the good, scored after 22 minutes. A little bit of poor defending. We cleared a corner initially. The right back had plenty of time to play a ball in towards the edge of the box. He found the unmarked Duff on the edge of the box, who took a touch. It bounced up nicely, and he volleyed it past Somerville, who had really no chance. Can't be blamed. As Truro City once again on the attack, but they're just lacking a little bit of quality. They're physically very strong, very, very competitive, very motivated.
And that's why they're fifth and not mid-table, as I said.
Exactly. I mean, they have played one more game than other people, and obviously after today they'll have played 2 more games. So getting games out of the way nice and early. As Hollis down in front of us, long throw up the line in the direction of Johnny Dyer, and it's Ash who's playing almost as a third centre back when Slough are attacking, just holding up. And Short heads the ball across to the onrushing Sears, and Sears now hooks the ball out left to Ryan Parsons, who in front of the Truro City dugout, advancing over halfway line, ball on the throw, looking for some support from Dobson. Dobson further up the line, plays the ball in. Dobson must be offside. He is. No. He kicks the ball away in frustration. He wanted the ball a lot earlier, but it was quite a straight line. He wasn't really given a good angle there for him.
He wasn't, but he was stood in line looking across, and when you're doing that, you have no excuse for being offside. He's on the far side, looking straight across the line, and he only had to take a couple of steps back, and he just stood and waited for the ball.
No, and Moore already is playing the time angle. He's still not even gone to collect the ball as yet, and he's certainly slowing it down. As we go into the final 10 minutes of this first half here, Slough trailing 1-0. A decent goal from Duff after approximately 22 minutes, and the referee's still signalling, and I think the Slough bench are again showing their frustrations. The fact that the kick still hasn't been taken, and Mr. Cody here, Mr. Court, isn't certainly winning any friends as Moore finally takes the kick. Plenty of time there for a free header there, but cleared long industrially by York in the direction of Scott Harris. He looks where the defenders are, holds the ball up well, uses his strength, does a nice little step over, gives it to Dobson in front of the Slough bench. Dobson with a bit of grass in front of him, drives an early ball across, but it's too close to the keeper, although it did nearly bobble out of Moore, and Johnny Dyer signals that he's happy, but it just wasn't quite the quality that we normally expect of Dobson there.
No, it was 10 yards in front of him. I mean, the thing with the time wasting is the referee, if he's worth his salt, will add that time on. And yes, they are wasting time in effect. They're slowing the game down, but they will still play the allotted 45 minutes no matter what. He stopped the game for God knows what now.
He's given a free kick to Truro City.
Didn't see anything wrong.
It wasn't a particular thing. I didn't really see much given, but again, Truro City, free kick 2 yards in from the far side, midway inside the Slough half. Plenty of players in towards the back of the box. York with his hands full of Pew, and it's driven in towards the back post. Plenty of space. Seemingly, I would have said Hollis may have had his arms there around the attacker there of Farkins. He got the wrong side of him, and Farkins should have scored with that header. Slough hanging on a little bit here now.
That was very good defending from Hollis. Farkins didn't complain that he'd been pulled down, and I think Hollis just used enough strength to put him off, and he put the ball past the post. But that could have been 2-0 because he got goal side of Guy, to be fair. So we're still only a goal behind. We've got 6 minutes left.
Yeah, Somerville, long clearance up long. One. That's meat and drink for Farkins, though, and Farkins wins it. And now Affle tries to play it down the line. It's with the feet of Cook. Cook back to Athel, but now George Short does well. Although he's getting fouled by Athel, plays the ball back to York. York, under a little bit of pressure, chips the ball out right for Ryan Parsons to get after. And Ryan Parsons just overran the ball there, but he's up against Long, and now he's won it off Long. Long not having such a great game up against Jake. And Short plays a fast ball. Seemed to handball it there, but it's fallen to Long again. And now Truro City attacking quickly, zipping the ball around well, midway inside the Slough half, cut inside by Athel, who's advancing towards the edge of the 18-yard box, pulls the trigger, somehow saves it, but doesn't hold on to it, and it falls out, and Fraser's first to react, clears the ball up to the Holes halfway line. Good football there, and good defending by Slough, and once again the ball's hooked in, and I thought that the Duff might have been offside, and the Slough were appealing for it, but Parsons, perhaps on the left side, was playing him on.
Yes, he was.
Duff should have made it 2-0 as he had
yes,
plenty
he should,
of time.
but that was a very good save from Jake. He parried it, and the forward, he parried it behind the forward, which was probably just as well. Otherwise, it would have been 2.
As now Short holds the ball up on the halfway line. It's all a bit frantic in here, and Truro have got their tails up as once again Captain Green pushes forward, and Short picks up the ball, passes it to the feet of Scott Harris, who doesn't hold it up, and Slough giving the ball away, and much to the frustration of the joint management team on the far side. They need to hold the ball up. They're fighting to get this ball away, and they're just not holding it up enough. As Fraser now, strong defending, does well, and Fraser puts the ball down the channel. Jake Parsons interested in chasing that forward, but he's going to be guided out by Pugh, but it will just let Slough breathe for a couple of minutes here, as it's a little bit of one-way traffic at the moment, Mick.
Yeah, it is just a little bit, I'm afraid. We'll be grateful, I think, for half time to get in there and let Bakes and Unders do their stuff, and then hopefully we'll see a second half performance we actually deserved. Yeah,
at half time we'll put on the interview that Fraser was getting climbed all over there by Cook, but the referee didn't see anything doing, and now Athel, who seems to have found himself more in the centre, trying to run the ball on, loses out softly, I would say, to Hollis, who just muscled him off the ball. He's quite a slight figure, and now Ryan Parsons will move the ball to Dobson over halfway line. Slough on the far left hand side with the ball, passes it all into the centre circle to George Short. George Short with plenty of time and space in front of him, looks to what he wants to do with the ball, passes it along the deck out to Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons up against the attacker, comes in, cuts back, cuts in twice inside the edge of the box, just gets picked off by Long, who did well there, did one too many tricks there, and now Truro have the opportunity to attack with Duff popping the ball into the corner, and Yorkie will get booked for that. He's clipped the heel of Cooked, and Yorkie will be the second man to go in the book, and you can't argue against that. 41 minutes played, and the ball was played into the corner for Cook to get after, and York knew what he was doing as he just clipped the heels and gave away a free kick, and I didn't think there was a lot of danger there, though.
Well, there wasn't. There was only Athel up. Everybody else was caught out by that, and yes, he could have got down to the byline, but I think he could have just gone with him and jostled him, because there was only Athel in the box. Everybody else was 20 yards behind that. He's taking one for the team, and he probably didn't need to there.
Will Slough pay the penalty twice here, though, with a free kick on the near side, probably 6 or 7 yards away from the edge of the penalty box that they're defending. A two-man wall with Jake Parsons and Sean Fraser in front of us. Somerville hanging out towards the end of his post, anticipating a cross, but we have at the moment Lowry stood over the ball, looking to deliver it into the danger area. This is an area where he could put it into that kind of corridor of uncertainty at the back post, and Truro City could gamble here as he delivers the ball in swinger, puts it towards the near post, and it's wide of the post. Someone wrongly thought the ball was in because the net bulged, and it was a little bit soft, and Somerville wastes no time in getting the ball getting play back underway, and Johnny Dyer's being held all ends up there by Long, and finally the referee noticed that and actually did something about it, and he's actually blown against it, because there seems to be an awful lot going on there. Slough,
well, he strangled him basically.
Slough's being suspect up front to some I would say some manhandling, and it just doesn't seem to be picked up on all occasions.
No, it doesn't on sometimes.
It seems to be a little bit one way at the moment, but and I don't know if Bakes and others are there, but Dobson will deliver a free kick into the box, whipped in towards the far post, well flicked on there by White, who I think intercepted for Truro City, and it'll be an attacking corner on the far side, which Dobson will go across to take an outswinger, and Slough are pressing towards this as we are in the 44th minute here. There won't be too much injury time. I think the trainers only come on once or twice. Yeah, there was a little bit of time wasting. Maybe a minute or so, or two, hopefully. Yeah. But Dobson, dressed on the far side in his bright orange boot, leaning back against the advertising hoardings. Players all gathering round on the edge of the D. Now suddenly they break. Dobson runs in, delivers it. It's a free header for Scott Harris, who heads it inches wide, and he really should have hit the target with that. Oh, he was about a foot over the bar. He'd no one near him. 7-8 yards out. Yeah, it was a free header, 6 yards out, and once again a little bit like Farkins earlier. Should have done better with his header. Should have done far better with that. There was no one round him. He'd beaten the mark. I mean,
I know Adrian and I were talking about things worked out on the training ground in midweek, and that looked like another training ground move, and Scott was free and should have put it in the back of the net.
And Fraser on the bouncing ball wins a header, and it falls to Ash in midfield, who plays the ball just up in the air, and Reshort heads that back, and now it will fall to Ash again, who tries to be clever and head it back, but he nearly sells Green short, but Green goes all the way home to Moore just outside his penalty box. He clips the ball forward, and it has Lowry interested, but it's all the way through to Somerville as the grey clouds kind of come over a little bit more here. Super Kev starts packing his stuff up in anticipation of half time on the halfway line on the far side, and the kick from Somerville out to Dobson. Dobson wins it, and now it's Harris up against Farkins down in that corner, and Farkins does well to just prevent the corner and puts the ball out the ground. Slough will have an attacking throw, which Hollis is making his way forward to, and his partner York as well doing it, as Jake Parsons makes his way back to the halfway line to be with his brother, and Sean Fraser to defend this chances. We're in the first minute of additional time here at the end of the first half. Slough trail 1-0. Quite an even first half, but I think Truro have just shaded it on chances.
Yes, I think they have.
Long throw comes in towards Reshort. Reshort bounces over him, and Scott Harris is battling away in the box. Hooks the ball over. It's bouncing around in the box. It falls to Reshort. He's hooked it down, but it's a heavy touch, and it's out behind for a goal kick. And Moore will waste more time, just not being too fast in taking this.
Yeah. Scott we should have had 1-1 with that. I'm disappointed with Scott on that. He got just underneath it, and I say a foot over the bar. When you're 8 yards out, you've got to hit the target. Even if the keeper saves or it hits the keeper, you should really hit the target, and he just failed with that one quite badly.
Yeah, so any of you listeners at home back in Slough, please contact us at MyFC Rebels Radio via Twitter, or email rebelsradio@outlook.com. As good defending there by Truro City. Just head the ball back as a long through ball is played off towards Johnny Dyer. Johnny Dyer now just going to shut down Moore, and I think this is pretty much it for the first half, although it will be interesting to see how much time Court adds, as we've played 46.5 minutes of the first half. As Truro back defending at the moment, and the ball's once again back with the goalkeeper. Bouncing around, clears it up to halfway line. George Short wins a strong header, headed back equally by Truro, and Slough and Truro just playing a bit of head tennis at the moment. It looked like Johnny Dyer was getting pushed there, but nothing doing again.
It was.
As the referee's letting quite a lot of physicality go, and Truro City look to get the ball played quickly, and they have. Affle's taken advantage and put Truro away. They're going to look to cross the ball in, chipped it over towards the far post, towards the skipper. Pulls it down well. Somerville out coming, chips it over him and over the bar, and that was a real chance there for Green to make a key moment in the game, but he popped it over the bar.
We were asleep. The free kick was given. We all stood around looking, thinking, what was that for? And it was an obvious free kick. The ball was played quickly. A very, very good free kick. Tremendous cross. And I'm afraid another one that should have hit the target. Jake was just stood there flapping his arms. Nothing he could do about it. Yeah. He played it over Jake, but he also played it a couple of yards over the bar.
And once again, came inside Sean Fraser. It's Slough have some reorganising to do here at half time. It hasn't been a poor half, but they haven't taken their chances, but they have looked like they've given a few chances.
That's half time.
That's half time. We played 47.5 minutes there in the first half, and it'll be interesting to see what the referee has conversation wise in terms of any of the managers. John Underwood just coming across, the rest of the management team making their way across, and John Underwood I think just going to try and have a conversation here. We're going to keep the commentary here before we just go back to this.
No.
The referee's just wanting to ask a question of John Underwood and him are just having a quick conversation and a chat, and there's I think an understanding, and now once again one of the assistants from the Truro, or one of the substitutes, are doing it. So it's a little bit of gamesmanship here. It's like you talked, so I talked, so they talked. So the players all making their way through to the change rooms to our right hand side. I think it's going to be interesting because Baker's stopped out here. He's just having a little chat with Fowler, but I think he's going to be off. He's going to have a chat, I think, with Adam Cornell here. So it could well be that Cornell's coming on for the second half.
Yes, it could well be. The thing with having a go at referees,
it might be that he's just forgotten something. The Slough are out on the pitch, but Baker's walked back. I know he's. As per on my interview that we're going to play shortly, he wasn't feeling 100% on Thursday, and I think he still isn't feeling 100%. So he perhaps doesn't want to infect the dressing room, so he might be staying out on that.
It could be, yeah. The thing with the managers and so on having a go at the referees, you are less inclined to get the 50-50s, and that's unfortunately how it works sometimes with referees. I know if I was, when I was refereeing, if somebody had a go at me, you tend not to give them 50-50s, and it's not bias, it's just, well, you've had a go at me, so I'll get my own back.
No. Anyway, I can see Baker on the halfway line, which reminds me to put on this interview at half-time. It's 1-0 to Truro City. Just about deserved it, but Slough could easily be level, or they could be 2 down. So it's all to play for in the second half. Please continue with the coverage. We'll be back just about 4 o'clock to take you through to full-time, and hopefully Rebels come back in the second half.
And if you can let us know about the Ryder Cup, I'd be very, very grateful, please.
Thank you. And welcome to a Rebels Radio latest interview. I'm joined by Slough Town Joint Manager Neil Baker. How are you, Neil?
Very well, welcome back.
Thank you very much. You don't sound too well. Are you feeling a little bit under the weather?
Yeah, a little bit under the weather. I had a sort of bit of man flu over the last sort of day or so, so I've tried to keep myself away from everyone today.
All right, well, thanks for spending this time in close proximity to me for the next 10 minutes or so. Really appreciate it. Let's firstly look back to last Saturday. A nice turnaround and back to winning ways. Yeah,
it was a good win for us. We needed it really. We pinpointed that after the run that we'd had that we needed to try and pick up 3 points. The game started off okay. First 25 minutes. I don't think there was an awful lot between the two teams. Then once they scored the first goal, which we felt was a little bit sloppy from us, they then spent the next 20 minutes. They were firmly on top, and in reality, if it wasn't for Jake, we could have gone in sort of 3 or 4-0 down. He made some really good saves. So, but second half, we spoke to them at half time, and we asked that their characters stood out, and to be fair, second half, once we got a little bit of luck from Dobbo's shot, which cannoned back off the defender, that was probably a bit of luck that we've needed for a while, and as soon as we got that, you could see the confidence flooding back to the lads, and
as did the goals.
And as the goals, yeah, absolutely. It was nice to see Scott Harris get on the score sheet, get a couple of goals. He's a real old-fashioned centre forward. He's not easy to mark, and no, I was delighted really.
2 quick questions on Saturday. Firstly, changing direction that you normally play in, was that down to a conscious decision, or was it just the way that that the toss went?
No, it was. We talked about it. Our home record hasn't been great, to be honest, since we took over. I think we only had one period where we had a run of wins, so we haven't been great at home this season. So we thought we'd just change it up a little bit. It's football's psychological at times, and we decided we'd warm up the other end and start going towards the sort of end that we normally finish at. So yeah, it was a conscious decision that we decided on, and listen, it doesn't really make an awful lot of difference, but we won the game, so we'll probably do that again.
Second question, some interest in it, some discussion on the forum about it. George Shaw obviously had a knock just before half time, got a bit of an injury, also was booked and had been kind of putting in a few challenges.
Yep.
Was he taken off for the injury, or was he taken off from a tactical reason?
No, it was an injury. We had talked about potentially changing the side around at half time anyway, but he was quite groggy, George. He'd got a whack on the head, and he sort of came into the change room. He didn't really know where he was and what he was doing, so it was.
Does that make a difference from normal?
No, it's probably pretty standard from normal, but no, it was one that as soon as we saw him, it was going to come off, and in the end, it proved pivotal with Searsy coming and doing really well.
Excellent. Okay, well let's discuss the last week then. No training Tuesday.
No, we've got a lot of travelling coming up over the next couple of weeks. 4 away games, and we felt that the previous week we'd been to Weymouth, then Paul. We trained on the Thursday. We trained on the previous Thursday. We just felt that we haven't given them a night off for a long time, so we felt that the ones that have been playing, they had the night off, and we got 2 or 3 games elsewhere, and myself and John and yourself obviously went to Margate versus Maidstone.
Yeah, hell of an atmosphere. I look forward to going back to Margate in early November, I think it is, for the trophy game up there. It'll be a really good day out. Get all those Rebel fans down there to put some of those locals through their paces. Yeah, you said you got a few people games. Who got games, and some had a harder game than others?
Yeah, Adam Cornell and Sean Fraser both went and played for Binfield. Roger Herridge has just taken over from Binfield, and we've got quite a good relationship with Roger. So we allowed those two to go and play, and unfortunately Dave Woosley got sent off on 40 minutes for a tackle, and then within that same incident one of their Binfield players also got a red card for a second booking. So it left them down to 9 men at 0-0 with a whole second half to play. But Bideford went and won the game 1-0, which is tremendous result for them. And it meant that the two lads had a real good 90 and had to work very hard.
Excellent. And there was a few league fixtures on. The opponents on Saturday, Truro were one of them, coming out 2-1 at home victors to Frome. What do you make of the trip down there to the southwest this weekend?
Yeah, I mean it's the toughest one that you've got to face in this league.
270 miles.
Yes, it's a long way. It's a long way, and I mean I've done it before on the train, and I don't think there's an easy way of getting there. Really, it's 4 and a bit hours on the train. 4.5, 5 hours in a car, maybe 6.5 hours on a coach. So we've made the decision to actually go down in cars. The players, there'll be 5 of us driving, and none of the players will be driving. They'll just be relaxing, and in the hope that we can get down there nice and quick. Also to save costs as well. It's an expensive trip. If you get a coach and you have to do a night stop and whatever else. So we've coupled it with a night out. We're going to stop in Exeter on the way home and try and make a bit of a day out of it. So it's a tough one.
Will it affect the players at all to travel down?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it will do. I'm sure Truro get it every other week. So,
but having said that, they haven't got that strong home record. Their away record's better than their home.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everyone can make excuses about journeys and whatever else. At the end of the day, our lads are fit boys, and they'll go out and work hard as they can, and whatever will be. It's a tough journey, but.
You prefer to do it on a Saturday?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that was the reason why we ended up changing it to this Saturday, because the weekend we're meant to be playing them is the second qualifying round of the FA Trophy, and it only needs one of us or them to get through, and we'd have had to go there on a Tuesday night, and Tuesday night would just be an absolute logistical nightmare. So as soon as we were knocked out and they were knocked out, it was a simple decision for us to make. We had to wait on them actually, because they were trying to do something similar and rearrange a game against Hungerford, but Hungerford decided that they weren't going to do that, and I think they've now ended up rearranging the game with Hereford. So it's worked out in our favour. Yeah,
so we're thankful to the people of Truro to do that, to make that accommodation and allow us to go down there on a Saturday.
Yeah.
What squad are you going to be taking with you?
Yeah, we're without Jamie McClurg. Jamie was unavailable 2 weeks ago for his best friend's wedding, stag do, and it's the wedding, unfortunately, this weekend. So something that we've known about. So him and George Frith has got a slight problem with his adductor, so he will not be travelling, and then also Eddie's still not quite fit. But other than that, we've got Luke Knight, who trained fully tonight. He'll come back into the squad. I mean we're sort of pretty much where we were from Saturday, with the exception of Clergy and bringing in 90, so pretty much like for like.
And what do you go down there hoping for?
Well, you hope for a win. It's any game you go into, you hope you win. I mean, no, we just want to go there, work hard, make sure that we put in a performance, and we've got no divine right to win anything in this league. I mean, Truro are obviously sitting in the playoffs at the moment, and we've got to aspire to be like those sides, and for us to be like that, we've got to try and beat them. So we'll be going there, trying to win the game.
Brilliant. Final note: Warren Harris had his surgery end of last week. How's he getting on?
Yeah, he had his surgery on Friday. He's obviously bedridden at the moment. He's up and about in terms of he can, on his crutches walk around a little bit, but he has to do his exercises every hour. It's a long slog, a bit like Fowles. I mean, unfortunately, because he's an electrician, he's always bending down, and it means that he's probably got to be off work at probably 2 weeks longer than Fowles would have been. So, it's quite a hard hit, for anyone to be off work for 6 weeks, especially when you're self-employed. So obviously we've run, I've run the fundraiser from Slough, and MyFC are running one at the moment, which is a golden goal competition. The Slough one's actually sold out now, but there's still, I think, about 40 or 50 tickets on the MyFC site. So if you haven't bought one, you haven't managed to get one, get onto the MyFC site.
Some good prizes.
Yeah, there is. I mean, we just, instead of just donating money, I thought that we'd come up with something where there's some prizes, so somebody can try and win something from it. And and you know, it's £10 a ticket. So you know, it's you know, we've had a good response from it, and it just helps you know, a massive player through a very tough time. You know, so yeah,
It's the least he deserves.
yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been nice to catch up. Hopefully we'll catch up between the next 2 away fixtures between Corby next Wednesday.
Yes, yeah,
But before that, let's hope that Slough get 3 points this Saturday.
that'd be very nice.
Excellent.
Cheers, John.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to a Rebels Radio latest interview. I'm joined by Slough Town Joint Manager Neil Baker. How are you, Neil?
Very well. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. You don't sound too well. Are you feeling a little bit under the weather?
Yeah, a little bit under the weather. I had a sort of bit of man flu over the last sort of day or so, so I've tried to keep myself away from everyone today.
All right, well, thanks for spending this time in
It's
close
no problem.
proximity to me for the
No
next
problem
10
at
minutes
all.
or so. Really appreciate it. Let's firstly look back to last Saturday. A nice turnaround and back to winning ways.
Yeah, it was a good win for us. We needed it really. We you know, we pinpointed that, you know, after the run that we'd had.
Welcome back. Sorry about that. If you heard the interview, it probably went just the whole way around again. We are here at Truro. The Rebels are out on the pitch. We are waiting for Truro City to come back out and join us. They're full time. Apologies for any fuzzy. I just heard some fuzzing. I'm not sure exactly what that was all about.
I've not seen my earphones fuzzy. I mean, we've come out 5 minutes early, to be fair.
Yeah, but I'd also say that perhaps Truro should be coming out soon. And here they start to come out. Truro lead 1-0. The goal scorer of number 9, Duff, who scored in the 22nd minute of the first half. A corner kick that was initially repelled by Slough up towards the halfway line, but right back Shane White cleared put the ball in towards the edge of the box, and it was well controlled by Duff, who had a little bit too much space and volleyed it past Somerville into the corner of the goal. Rebels have had a few chances. They've had 2 players booked. Reece Short booked in the 41st minute for a trip, and Johnny Dyer for mouthing off after the 31st. Truro City dressed all in red. Farkins has been booked for talking as well. I'll just take you through the teams. In goal for Slough, number 1 Jake Somerville, 2 Sean Fraser, 3 Ryan Parsons, 4 Guy Hollis, 5 Reece York, 6 George Short, 7 Johnny Dyer, 8 Adrian Sear, 9 Scott Harris, 10 Jake Parsons and 11 James Dobson, who's had a couple of close free kicks. On the bench for Slough, 12 Tom Moran, 14 Luke Knight, 15 Adam Cornell and 16 Darryl Thomas. Slough wearing their purple MyFC kit in the half to our right, Jake Somerville in a bright orange goalkeeper's kit. Just lining up to our right hand side as we are ready to get underway. All the Slough management team and players, substitutes, are away to our right hand side, in the dugout on the other side, and Truro just all in red, looking ready to get under. They've got Carl Moore in goal, number 2 Shane White, 3 Chris Long, 4 Jake Ash, 5 Rob Farkins, 6 Aaron Pugh, 7 Captain Dan Green, 8 Jamie Lowry, 9 Craig Duff, who scored in the 22nd minute, 10 Cody Cook and 11 Les Affle. On the bench they've got Barry Hales, ex-pro, 17 Ryan Brett, 14 Ben Watson, 15 manager Steve Tully and 16 Miles James. And the Rebel Army to our left hand side, just making a little bit of sound as we get underway. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this second half pans out, as it was fairly even in terms of chances and things in the first half, but Rebels not quite at the races in terms of taking the chances on, as an initial long ball there from Fraser goes all the way through to a goal kick, and Moore probably already kind of doing his slow jog, sort of winding the clock down. We've already got 45 minutes to go, as the breeze just gets a little bit cooler here, Mick.
It does. We are playing slightly with the breeze this half.
Yeah, slightly with the breeze and slightly with the hill. It's a compact little playing area.
Yeah, it is.
We're just waiting to see whether the half-time team talks tonight. Slough playing 4-4-2 with Johnny Dyer and Scott Harris up front. Dobson out on the left. Ryan Parsons just wins the header on halfway line, wins it. Flicked on by Johnny Dyer into the middle. Scott Harris challenging well, and George Short comes through with a strong header, which Johnny Dyer looks to flick on, but it's a very physical game out there, and Ryan Parsons just got caught there by Cook, and the locals don't think much of that. They're just tucking into their flasks of tea or coffee as we speak, and George Short then got pushed in the back, and the referee once again no decision doing it. Perhaps he's left his whistle in the back, and then there seemed to be another foul on a Truro player there, and he's not blown. He's forgotten his whistle. I think he's forgotten his whistle as Jake Parsons, attacking towards the far side, tries to cross it across. It goes out for a goal kick. He kicks it out of frustration, and it looks like the goal scorer Duff's down injured on the halfway line.
I think he just got.
It's not Duff. It's
Farkins, and I think he just got winded. To be fair to him, there was nothing in that. nobody's complained. I think he just got a bit of an elbow. There was nothing. It was two players going for the ball and he came off worse, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Bit of hard lines, tough luck.
Apologies for the occasional fuzzing you're hearing. We're not quite sure what it is. It's there's a loose connection or something somewhere. We'll do our best to try and avoid it, but if it does happen, apologies. Slough seem quite, up for this. There's plenty of talk and chat out there. If you do want to contact us, please do so at MyFC Rebels Radio. Let us know what you think. If you've got any questions or where you're listening from, if you're one of the players that's maybe injured or not involved, like Ed Slug, who's I think at a wedding today, couldn't make that trip down here today. There was an ice bucket challenge at half time, which I think Truro have tweeted. It looked pretty cold out there, considering the temperatures dropped a little bit. I certainly wouldn't fancy it. Farkin's just having his treatment concluded, going out on the halfway line, but it'll be more down to our left hand side to get the game back underway from a goal kick.
And it was actually an ice cube challenge as opposed to just cold water, because there were ice cubes after the
Dobson
finish.
rises well, but just heads the ball out, and no real urgency here from Truro, but Duff looks to throw the ball down the line quickly, but leaves it for White, who's just down me. Oh, more fuzzing.
Yeah, I'm fuzzing as well. I don't know why I'm fuzzing. One was a fuzzing, one was this fuzzing.
I think there's a foul over there in the far corner. Oh, there we go. Let's hopefully stop this fuzzing. Oh, Jesus.
I think it's John that's fuzzing. He's where are we now? John's in the way. I could tell you what's happening with John's in the way, but he's sorting his microphone out. So.
All right. Okay. I think we're in a better position.
We've got a free kick now. Jamie Lowry.
Almost a corner for Truro City, right in the far right hand side. Lowry raising his hand up in the air. It's going to be an outswinger towards the near post. Well won at the near post there by Captain Ryan Parsons. It's all the way through on the far side, out now to Affle, the short, small figure. Turns on the ball, cuts inside, back to Ash. Ash plays the ball around the corner, and now it looks like Duff tries to play it all the way across goal. It goes all the way across through the 6-yard box and to Dobson, who's now going to play the ball long along the floor to Harris. Harris flicks the ball up in the air, doesn't win it. He's getting fouled there by Green on the towards the halfway line, but holds the ball up well, and then a little bit of miscommunication there between Sear and Fraser, and the ball's been overrun. Strong tackles going in left and right, and Affle's picked up the ball edge of the box, but York comes in with a strong tackle. The ball's not playing an awful lot on the ground, and high foot there by Green, and Slough wanted to get on with it, so he needed to keep his foot down a little bit there, just couldn't quite manage it, and free kick to Slough, which Somerville looks to take quickly, set Dobson on his way. He's chipped it up into the area behind the right foot of White, and it's headed all the way behind there by Farkins, who didn't get a great shout, puts his arms out wide, and the small number of the travelling Red Army to our left hand side, one of our co-commentators seems to be doing a sort of funny jig like he's wet his pants.
Yeah, I think he has actually. There's 8 of them behind that goal, but they do make a bit of noise, and they've got the 3 flags.
How many seats is there?
60.
Oh, Jesus.
That was 100.
Only one goal in all the games so far. I think the 3 games between Arsley, I believe, are 1-0 up. Hereford 1-0 down at home to Hungerford as the ball's taken, crossed in, and then it's a sliced effort by Sears, who goes harmlessly down and finds itself at the feet of the three flags. As some of the Slough travelling faithful who number no more than 30 in number, trying just to encourage the referee to get more going along. The 2 Slough managers stand thoughtful. No Slough substitutes warming up at the moment as we've played 5 minutes of the second half. It remains Truro City 1, Slough Town 0.
I think the rest of the Slough fans are propping the bar up. Don't blame them, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a few up that end. I can still see up near the bar and near the Warners football teller. As now a ball's played through and Somerville's coming way off his line, but Hollis comes across well, takes it off Larry's foot and then chips a long ball forward. It's out of play, but a little bit of a mix up there, and I don't think that was Somerville's to come for there. He
wouldn't have got there, and Guy did the right thing in clearing it. There's no way he would have got to that. That was good defending from Guy, and it's a throw-in on the far side, just inside the Truro half.
So yes, we are looking Slough playing slightly with the wind as Parsons tries to play a long ball forward, Jake that is, but it only finds White, headed all the way back left to Moore in his bright kind of blue turquoise kit, and he's picked the ball up. Scott Harris just stays next to him to make sure that he gets it back underway, and a high long clearance, but Affle flicks the ball on, and now it's Cook down up against Hollis, and Hollis has kicked it at us, but it's gone all the way behind into the deep area. And the locals are just having a bit of fun at getting that ball back, but again, doesn't seem a particular hurry to get the ball back, and the ball's going to be restarted in a moment with White, the right back for Truro City, dressed all in red with kind of some matching reddy orange boots, going to be throwing the ball in, and Slough just a little bit quiet, just need to get the tempo going a little bit and keep the ball on the floor. They're playing a lot of aerial stuff, which Farkins and Pugh are really adept at dealing with. Ball thrown in by White. Gets it back from Affle. Up the line in the direction of Cook. Cook with Parsons in close attendance, but hooks the ball inside. Only finds Short, but Short's guided header is misplaced back to Cook. Truro once again on the attack, pushing deep into the Slough half. White having a run at the defenders, trying to chip the ball into the cross, and comes off York's shin, sliced behind for a corner to Truro. So Truro still attacking. Slough haven't come out quite firing yet.
No, they haven't. It's as they finished the first half, to be honest. It's not been great. We're still looking for some sort of pattern in this game, and we just haven't got it at the moment. Who's that going across to take it? It's come all the way across the left-hand side to take it.
Yeah, I think that's Lowry again. He's been in the other position. He's running all the way across to the right-hand corner, taking his time, eating it away. Once again, Ash, the number 4, the tall number 4, has taken his a position unmarked at the moment on the edge of the D. If the ball comes out, he's going to be prime suspect for a good shot. He's already had 2 as finders, and it's taken towards him, almost a set play routine. It's taken 2 touch, cuts back inside, and a left foot shot that's awful. In all honesty, it was a left foot shot that went wide of the 6-yard box. He cut inside, and if he was going to go down, he should have gone down, but he decided against it because he looked like he got caught. And early kick taken up in the direction, but Farkins will be underneath it. Farkins isn't doing very well though. He's headed it up in the air twice, but Moore comes out to the edge of his box, picks it up, and Moore's in a hurry now to slice that one up in the air, and it's pretty much going to land on the halfway line. Hollis coming through from the back. Seemed to get a nudge from Affle, the smallest player on the pitch, but the referee's not doing anything. Meanwhile, Hollis is just doing it, and Green's had a massive dive there. He didn't even get caught to a high degree, and he's rolling down.
I'm not convinced he didn't get caught, to be fair. He's having a word with Adrian.
Sears is just having a little word with him, but the Green's very experienced at that, and he's just having a word. He didn't touch him, and
I'll take issue with that. I think he did.
The chairman is upset at that. But yeah, I don't think he actually touched him at all. As I said on commentary, I don't think he touched him, and he kind of
no.
And
well,
Green has got one for the team there. I think, and he's got Searsy booked, which I think if you can play the referee at that, you can do. But it was, I think,
8 minutes into the second half.
I think that was a poor decision. So Searsy goes into the book on the 53rd minute, and the result is that there's a free kick, pretty much on the halfway line, which is going to be taken long by Ash up into the far right-hand corner. And once again, it's that man Duff in the far right-hand corner. Fraser comes across, puts the ball out for a throw, but Truro seem to be getting just a little bit of the rub of the green at the moment. Throw on that far side with Duff looking to take it, slowing things down. Cook, his partner in crime, comes across back to Duff on that left hand side, edge of the Slough box, bobbling and bouncing around, and Short comes through strongly and heads the ball clearly, but it's picked up again and hooked back in by Green. Well dealt with then by Slough, and they're just hooking the ball clear, but there's a few different challenges coming in there, and Slough still struggling to just get the ball clear. It's bouncing around on the edge of the box. George Short wins the header, and it's then flicked on by Scott Harris, and Scott Harris, now Slough have the opportunity to break. Sensible ball out to Parsons on the halfway line. Parsons looks to just cut back inside, and Dobson down in front of us was screaming for it, but it's gone to George Short. George Short's overhit that, but he's headed well back inside by Dobbo to Parsons, and now Dobson running at Affle, cuts inside, going onto his right foot, pulls the trigger with his right foot, but it's deflected, and it's nearly back to Ryan Parsons, but White will try and cut the ball out, cuts inside well, and he'll now clear it along with his left foot up to the feet of Cook on the halfway line. Look to use his hand to control that down in front of us, and Hollis pops the ball out, but it certainly looked like a handball. The referee, once again, not really impressing.
I didn't see it because there's a big metal sign in front of us, but I'll take your word for that.
You can stand up if you like.
Yeah, I could do, but I'm going to get down them steps later.
White takes the throw in inside to Ash. Ash chips a long ball forward, and Cook once again tangling with the defenders there, certainly putting himself about quite long, and York does well, uses his body strength and holds the ball up, and so it's out for a goal kick, which some of them look to take quickly. Baker flapping his arms around, trying to get a little bit of urgency going. Farkins using some industrial language. Apologies if you heard any of that. And the referee did see that one for some reason, and both joint managers hands on heads at the referee's decision, which does seem to be a bit one-directional at the moment. You don't like to talk about the referee in that way, but it does seem to be calling it a little bit in one way rather than
there are 3 Truro subs warming up. Nobody warming up yet for.
That's a really poor free kick, and it finds Johnny Dyer, who has a shot from all of 45 yards, but he's not quite as good as his compadre McClurg, and it drifts right of the goal. But that was an awful free kick that gave it to Johnny Dyer on the halfway line, and he chose to take it immediately. But Some of the Slough fans near us are a little bit upset with some of the recent decisions.
Yeah.
As we've played almost 12 minutes of the second half, it remains Slough a goal down, and Truro fairly even, but Truro attacking now with White pushing forward, plays it to Affle, edge of the box, wants to get the return, he's got the return, he's inside the box, he squared it all the way across, and with a goal gaping and Summerhill claim, it looked like it was drilled over by Green, the captain in his bright yellow boots, came in right from the far side and just chipped it over the bot. When it would have been easier to score. Sorry, I'm doing a disservice. I think it was Cook.
It could have been whoever it was.
It was an awful miss.
It was a dreadful miss. The one that was very similar from George Short in the first half, apparently, according to Adrian, shaved the post by about an inch, which is why the keeper really had to go for it. But that one was an absolutely dreadful miss.
Somerville's clear inside. Harris underneath it, and Harris trying to reverse into Pugh a bit, and now Pugh just gives him an absolute kick. And it's unbelievable that the referee actually saw something. He saw him kick him. And to be honest, I would not want to kick Scott Harris, and then have to face him in the next few minutes. But Pugh, I think, is a taller, bigger man than I am, and Dobson will once again take a free kick and look to swing it in towards the far post. It's probably midway inside the Truro City half, just slightly left of centre, and Dobson flicks it towards the far post, but it doesn't beat the first man, but it's coming back to Dobson, and Dobson cuts back inside, the skipper, cuts inside another player, tries to do his best. The ball's under George Short's feet. It's a handball, very close to the edge of the box, and it's all getting a bit tense, and Truro are losing their heads a little bit here because it was a clear handball, and it's going to be a free kick, I would say 19 and a half yards out, dead centre.
Yes, yeah, probably a little bit unlucky there because it was only a yard in front of him. He did put his hand up to his face. I don't think he put his hand up any higher. It's possibly a bit unlucky to get free kick given against him.
But this is a great opportunity
right on the edge
for
of
Dobson.
the D.
So actually, I would say it's 21 yards out, dead centre.
22.
Dobson lined up, and the wall's back. It's nowhere near back 12 yards.
No, it's a penalty spot, and he's not going back on the penalty spot.
They've got to be back at the penalty spot, but it's the widest wall. There's only two outfield players not in it, so it's an 8-man wall. There's absolutely no Slough players in it. Johnny Dyer at the left edge,
still not on the penalty spot,
and they've got to be where Johnny Dyer is. And
there's no way.
It's lined up. He's drilled it low, and it's straight in the middle of the goal. There's a goal. The equalising, well deserved by Slough. Dobson drilled it low under the wall. The wall jumped. 15 minutes into the second half, and Slough are level.
Well, that was a dreadful wall. It stood its ground, but then unfortunately they all jumped up in the air and it just went straight underneath.
It wasn't even
absolutely no chance.
It wasn't even a particularly good free kick. It was quite central, really.
No, it was a dreadful free kick, but when the wall jumps up,
the keeper had no chance.
He's got absolutely no chance.
So 59 minutes gone. Slough have grabbed an equaliser, and now it'll be interesting to see how they push on. And how Truro's confidence may be dented. But Dobson continuing his good run of scoring form. As he adds to some of the goals. For a midfielder, he scores a fair few, but the intensity's just gone up. The Slough fans to our right hand side are just shouting, and once again Harris is just a judge to have done it. The ball was moving as it was taken there, but Pugh's attacking down the far left hand side. He's going to look to drag the ball back. He's dragged it ball back. There's players on the floor. It's still bouncing around in there, and somehow it ends up at Summerhill Field. That was Sunday League stuff as it was bobbling around in that area on the floor.
It was, and I can't say it was. I think it was.
It was once again Duff got the ball
down
in.
under challenge as the ball came
bouncing around in there, and at the moment Farkin's only got one boot on, and it's a bit of a Farkin's joke, really.
Bum bum.
Bum bum,
yeah.
Not bum bum. Excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen. We don't mean to be like this all the time.
Dreadful.
Yeah, there's better jokes, but they're not available on this radio channel. As Slough once again now need to just concentrate, get back in the game. Don't allow Truro to get anything of it. As York's battling up against Cook in the far right hand corner. Cook trying to win a corner, but York's tried to tackle him, but no fouls there. And Parsons has tried to clip the ball off his heel. It's almost like it's the 89th minute, but conceded the throw, and so it'll be White to take a throw, far right hand corner. We've played 60 minutes here in Truro. It's one goal apiece. Slough coming back, and the Truro fans away to our right are making a little bit of noises. The ball's in the area with Affle, and Affle back to White, right hand edge of the box, very tight. Slough under pressure here. Affle dancing around, tries to chip it in, but it's clipped wide, and it's now hooked towards the back post by Affle, and now Fraser's got two men up against him. He's got the left back of Long in that far right hand corner. Duff trying to help him, but Fraser stands his ground, just does enough, but Long's not hanging around and quickly takes the throw in. Back to Green to the edge of the box to Pugh. Pugh tries to pull the trigger, but well shut down by Short, and it ricochets up to Harris, and Harris is jumping, and This time the free kick goes the other way.
Yeah.
And in the eyes of the Truro fans, it's the wrong way. And they're apparently having lost. So
I actually think that was right. The forward knew Scott was coming, and he stood there, and he just made a back, and Scott had no chance of getting to the ball. The right decision. As for the jokes, yeah, the better ones in Christmas crackers, John, to be fair, but never mind.
Rhys York drives the ball from inside his own half, long in the direction of Dobson, but Parsons battling up against Atfill well, and it's White tries to win the ball, but Johnny Dyer goes through, strong tackle. Dobson comes inside, gets caught, and once again it's just all getting a bit bitty from Truro. They're just getting a little bit snide and putting a few tackles in at the moment, Mick.
Well, we've got our tails up now. It's amazing what a goal will do. It was the same last week when Bideford slotted an own goal in. They went to pieces, got totally rattled. We looked very, very competent last week after the goal, and we're starting to look a lot better now.
Dobson on his haunches, whipping the ball in towards the far post. Plenty of players around it. York tries to hook it back across, but can't get enough on it, and it's out harmlessly for a goal kick.
Another one right behind the goal, and
yeah, whoever lives in that field does well for balls.
Yes, I think they must sell them back some
And
point.
all of a sudden, the balls are coming back a little bit quicker, and Moore's in a bit more of a hurry than he was 20 minutes ago.
Well, he was not in a bit of a rush 10 seconds into the second half, was he?
Yeah, he hasn't been in a rush, but now Truro are level. He's suddenly in a more of a rush as the long ball goes through, comes off Fraser, and Cook's taking it not from there. So, strictly speaking, that should be a foul throw, but I'm not sure he's going to do that.
No, it was a correct. No, you take it again when it's like that, but he pinched at least 10 yards. And this guy's trying to pinch the same 10 yards.
He's trying to tell him exactly where it is, and he's still not quite in line. But so we have played literally 18 minutes of the second half. Slough have come back into this game again, and it's now down in the far corner though for Truro City to drive a ball in. Some of them takes it off the feet of Atfill and does well to claim that ball. And Slough now certainly have a little bit more energy as three of the Truro substitutes bench are warming up down in front of us on the far side, looking to maybe make some changes as once again Truro don't seem so sure of themselves at the back this half. I'm not sure what it is, and the ball, they're looking like it's leaving out, and Dobson up against the right back drives the ball low. It's well cut out there though by Farkins, and Farkins does well to try and drive it through, but it's only fine Parsons heavy first touch, and Ash does well enough. He's to just pop the ball out, and it'll be a throw on that White will take. And Harris is making a long charge across and just puts his body in. It's a man's game. It could be early by sometimes, but
I think Farkins made a little bit of a meal of that one, and refused Scott's handshake. He's got it holding his elbow. I don't know why he did that. Maybe he doesn't know another bit of his anatomy from his elbow.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to shoulder barge Scott at any point, which we might do later after a few beers, but I don't want to, once I've got my brave beer jacket on, that might be alright. But
I think the noise level's gone up because the bar's down the far end, which is where most of the noise is coming from.
Parsons, with plenty of time in the middle of the park, pass it out right, but he's made the wrong decision there, Jake, and unfortunately it's all the way out, and Long will have an opportunity to throw the ball in now.
Scott was screaming for that in the middle.
Yeah, there was kind of almost 2-on-2 there.
Yes, there was.
And the ball's all the way back with Moore, who's driven the ball out long, and it's up to Frey. And there's a little bit of shouting going on. I'm not sure what it's referring to, but at the moment Truro are back on the attack here with Cook heading towards his own goal, but back to Ash. Ash now out left to left back Long, and Long looking to drive the ball in, but Parsons of a Jake variety doing a job to cover it back, and Slough just have to defend for a minute, but they're going to make a substitute, and off's going to come number 11 Atfill, who's worked hard, and on's going to come 14, which is, I believe it's going to be Watson coming on for Atfill. Whether that's a straight swap or not, I don't know.
65 minutes gone.
So Watson enters the arena, and Atfill had quite a decent game.
Yes, he's buzzed around a little bit, causes a few problems in the midfield. He hasn't had a bad game at all. He hasn't had a bad game at all.
And it looks like they might be just changing the formation a little bit, and it looks like he might have said that actually Watson might be going up front, and he's looked like he talked to Cook to say, Cookie, you go over there. So maybe a little bit of a change of attack from Truro here, either sticking the full two people up front permanently. It's George Short doing a bit of a dance, putting Fraser in a bit of trouble. Looked like the ball had gone, but he's found Scott Harris up on the halfway line. We've got a little bit climbed over, and it's only a matter of time, I think, before Scott Harris puts one too many in. As the ball's found Watson, left-hand edge of the box, Watson driving in, turns back, passes it out to the edge of the box. It's with Duff coming across the goal, looking for a bit of space, chips it out right to White, who's in acres of space. Truro looking to get the ball into the box, plays it back to Ash. Ash chips it in towards the far post. Free header, which Sears puts clear, but Slough still not got the pressure away as Green off to the left-hand side, flicks the ball up the line, but it's harmlessly out for a goal kick and a waste for Truro.
That was a good move, and yes,
it was good. It was some good football there.
There was some very, very good football, and the guy that's come on, Watson, first touch there, caused a few problems. We're not used to him at the moment. We've got to get tight on him. We let him get away a little bit there.
I think White could have done a little bit better there. He had a bit more time and space on the right hand side. He could have delivered a better quality ball and taken the ball on a bit.
Yes,
Some clearance up in the direction of Dyer, who's just gambling there over the back of White, but White's doing well, and Johnny Dyer's getting called to Jesse, and he's lying on his bum as Lowry attacking back to Cook, who's playing in a more right-hand position, and it's off the bar, and it's driven, and it's almost in, but it's not in. And York hooks the ball clear. How did that ball not go in? As Truro have pressure everywhere. There was a long ball in towards the far stick, and it looked like it was headed back off the bar and then bounced down. And once again, almost White could have headed it as the ball came across for a corner. The new substitute Watson's appealing and that ball across the line, but it didn't look like it.
No, it didn't cross the line, and the substitute Watson couldn't find his feet. If he'd have found his feet a little bit earlier, he could have got the follow-up there. That was a very, very good move from Truro. We were slightly fortunate there, and we've got away with that.
Very, very fortunate. I'd say the bar saved us first, and then the fact that Watson wasn't quite sharp enough as he should have been. Slough just still hung on. They have only conceded the one goal, and will that come at the end of the game, or will that matter? Is Slough a little bit more on the retreat? As a long ball forward, which Watson's after. Watson seems to be playing up front a little bit more by himself now. On the far left pair of legs. On the far left for Truro, all the way back to Long, midway inside the Slough half, playing the ball along the ground. Truro playing the ball around nicely, edge of the box, chips it over towards the far post. Cook's underneath it, but Cook can't find the target. But Truro are applying pressure here.
Yes, they are. That was two good moves in less than a minute there, but good defending again. That was better defending from Ryan Parsons. He's trying to get the team G'd up there. Somebody's having a crack at the referee again.
And Cornell is warming up for Slough.
John's still bleeping. He's still buzzing.
The ball's bouncing around, but Long makes no mess with it, and Cook up against Parsons, and Parsons wins that, heads the ball out on halfway line. It'll be a throw in to Truro City, who've got their tails up in these last 5 minutes. We've played almost 25 minutes of the second half. It is Truro 1, Slough 1. And once again, Truro making advances down this right hand side, and it looks like it might be a long throw from Cook, and Cook and White just looking to combine. Just letting down the referee's assistant down there, just saying exactly where's he going to take it. Looked like a foul throw, but it's gone back to White. White will look to try and drive the ball in. Takes a couple of touches, shut down by Ryan Parsons, onto his left foot, in towards a far post, and it came off short last, I would say, for a corner kick to Truro.
Yeah, we've got to take care now. This is crucial time. 24 minutes gone, 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes to go. We need to keep them out. And they've started to get the tails up. They've come back into it now. And we're just starting to get a substitute warming up, aren't we?
Yeah, Tom Moran's warming up as well. There's still three Truro substitutes as the corner kick comes in from Moran. Well, one at the near post by Scott Harris, but it falls to Ash. And his third effort of the day that's his third effort, and it's not close. Again, it's a left foot swinger almost out the ground, and then one of the very helpful Truro fans kicks it miles down the pitch over Jake. Jake's quite small, but even if he was 10 foot tall, he wouldn't have stopped that.
He wouldn't have got that one. It nearly bounced. Well, it bounced. First bounce was outside the penalty area, so I think they'll be having a word about signing that lad up to play at the back for Truro. Underwoods and Bakes, you can see just in conversation here. What changes are they going to make? They're gesturing and looking and pointing as Johnny Dyer tries to gamble on that long kick, and Scott Harris will win it, flicks it off Ash, and it's bouncing across the far side. Well dealt with by White, heads it all the way back to Moore, and Moore will look to set Truro on their way quickly. Yeah, he's got some urgency, hasn't he, the keeper now? And Moore under a bit more pressure. Free header there for Cook, but the second ball dealt with by Hollis. Jake Parsons on the edge of his own centre circle, trying to get the ball, but eventually the referee gave a free kick, and I'm not sure how much there was in there, but Hollis plays it quickly to Dobson. Dobson down the line, and Scott Harris is after it, and no nonsense there. Hit towards us by Farkins, and it's gone off. It's down in a deep ravine. I wouldn't bother with that one. No, they've lost that one. And now it's interesting. The balls aren't quite coming back again so quickly when Slough are attacking, but it seems to be the other way. As Ryan Parsons has the ball, throws it to Hollis. It looked to hit his hand, and
Dobbo, right foot in deep, out too deep, but over Johnny Dyer. But good effort. He's keeping on going there, keeping on pressing, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
that was just a little bit too far for Johnny Dyer. Unfortunately, it came over his shoulder, but a little bit too high, and he couldn't control it. It looks like we are going to make a substitution.
Yeah, it's Tom Moran coming on. It'll be interesting to see where he comes on for. I think it might well be that he'll come on for Jake Parsons, and perhaps Sean Fraser might go up to right midfield. Would be my money's guess, as Jake Parsons has been less influential in this second half than he was in the first. And the ball's on the halfway line at the moment, and George Short having a good old battle in there with Green. And George Short just comes out on top, but Green blocks it well. And then a strong, forceful ball by Long up the line. And Slough are going to make their first substitution.
Yeah.
And we're just waiting for the ball to go up. Oh, they don't quite appear to be doing it just as yet.
Tom's not ready yet. That's why he's not got his shin pads in or anything. We had this once before, didn't we, where somebody wasn't ready?
Yeah, but Tom Moran now is ready, and it'll be interesting to see if the referee's going to do it. Yep, they're just trying to signal to the bench, but it's off-coming Jake Parsons, which is no surprise. Tom Moran coming on, which makes it easier for the commentators now that there's only one Parsons on.
27 minutes.
Yeah, so that's 72. 18 minutes to go. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you for
Good.
that. I don't know what we'd do without you.
Tom Moran going into the right back position, so Sean Fraser going to play a more advanced role. Interesting to see how that goes, as the throw up the line immediately from Parsons goes down the line, and it hasn't gone out, but eventually it does, and Truro City will get pulled back there, and they're getting encouraged to get on with it. But there's a second change going to happen, and it looks like it's going to be Ryan Brett coming on for the White Tigers, but that's when the ball's next out of play. The ball's bouncing around just 10 yards inside the Slough half, and there was a handball there clearly by Watson. And are Truro going to make the change now? It certainly looks like it's going to be Brett coming on.
Yeah, not just yet though.
But a low slung ball towards Dobson, flicked on well by Johnny Dyer, and then flicked inside, and Dobson's going to have an opportunity to have a shot. He's sat up and he didn't keep his head down, and it was an opportunity. He could have taken a couple of touches, but no harm for pulling the trigger there. You can't blame him, can you, Mick?
No, he had to have a go there. That was pretty obvious. So we've got
the skipper Green's coming off to be replaced by Brett. And the local fans just give them give their skipper Green a good send off, and it looks as if Ash in the centre of midfield has taken on the mantle of skipper as a strong tackle comes in from Hollis, but still on the retreat. A good ball through, and Reshawk, no nonsense, chips the ball up, and Johnny Dyer's got a little bit of space now. Midway inside the half, flicks it up to keep Johnny Dyer. Johnny Dyer just taking a time. Dobson going inside. Have a shot, Johnny. And he's had a shot. It's deflected through, and it's it. Oh, and he's missed it. How did he miss it? Because it was deflected. There was a shot by Johnny Dyer which got deflected off one of the Truro defenders, and Scott Harris on the penalty spot took a touch and poked it wide of Moore in the goal.
I don't think it was expected to come through, and I think he was as well expecting an offside decision, which obviously it couldn't off the defender. He was onside when it was played through. And that was probably the easiest chance of the day for anybody.
There's still a little bit of ill feeling out here. It seems to be growing a bit that the referee hasn't done exactly what he should do. And Hatchett's on his bike. Hatchett getting pushed back immediately by Pugh. And Pugh's not very strong, and he's held the ball up, and they seem to get pulled back a little bit. It did seem to be that... and Moore just used some very fruity language. Moore and Farkins are having a Farkin argument.
Yeah, I mean that's... Yes.
There's some very industrial language coming out of Mr. Moore's mouth there.
Yes, there is.
As Johnny Dyer, amongst all this going off the pitch, there's certainly some of the Truro fans aren't very happy, and I can't. Some of the Truro players are absolutely screaming at each other.
Well, there was some confusion at the back.
Searsy just got shot by an invisible sniper for some reason. Searsy ended up on his bottom.
On his backside, yeah.
Not sure how he ended up there. He just seemed to get shot.
I think he did, yeah.
As the ball's played out long by Truro, and it's all the way through. And Moran does well to use his strength to hold off Cook, but Slough will be under the pressure down there. But Yeah, a real chance there for Harris. Harris having a good old battle there with Pugh, and Pugh wasn't at all sure and seemed to pull back Scott Harris just as he got the wrong side of him.
And he should have scored, should Scott. There's no question about that. He'd got an open goal.
Johnny Dyer, and Scott Harris is certainly up for this, one would say now, as Johnny Dyer chucks himself in the air and shuts down Pugh. I'm not sure whether Johnny Dyer should be throwing himself around quite so much, because as we go into the final 15 minutes here, Scott Harris going an awful long way up to put a bit of pressure on Moore. And Moore's good ball forward, and Cook out jumps the new substitute Moran, and now York's underneath it, and York does well to keep the ball in, clips it up the line, and Johnny Dyer getting climbed all over by Ash, keeps the ball in, and there's plenty of noise going on in the ground. It's certainly an interesting game. Most goal-mouth chances, but...
but it has been a better second half. It's been very entertaining, and both sides have got stuck in.
Yeah, and I think one was a fair score at the moment, as Searsey just loses control of that, and Moran sticks out a long left leg, and George Short now's going to try and keep the ball in, but Ash is hungry, and Ash is quicker, and now midway inside the Slough half outright, he's looking to play to the feet, inside him to the new substitute to Brett. Brett plays a long ball forward, and it's in the direction of Duff. Duff does well to control it, cuts it back inside, but well cut out by Dobson. Dobson, good defending, but concedes a throw-in, but did well to do some good defensive work.
He read that very, very well. He got back, read it very, very well, because there was nobody else around. Excellent.
Once again, White with a throw-in, gets it back and looks to drive the ball into the far post. Header by Cook leaning back and then flicked on by Fraser, who's now in a slightly more advanced role. It's going to go out on the halfway line. Truro City looking to get this underway quickly.
12 minutes to go plus stoppage time.
It's 1 goal all. The other 2 or 3 Slough substitutes are just warming up. I can see the bearded Cornell and the bearded Luke Knight just out there as well. And again, Cook directly is a strong out ball, and the ball's bouncing around in the edge of the box, and Reece Short comes away with it, playing strongly. Nana, he's doing all right if you're listening in. Nana listens in, unlike my microphone, which isn't doing quite so well, as Dobson now on the halfway line looks to play a crossfield ball all the way to Fraser. He's got him asking lot. Fraser now in the advanced midfield position, plays it inside to George Short, takes a touch, plays it along the floor back to Fraser. Truro playing a very high line at the moment, but they might get caught out. And Johnny Dyer gets a heavy touch there off his feet, and it's now up to Lowry to pull the ball away. Back to White and Long in the left back position, clipped off Fraser, and Truro will have a throw in deep inside their own half. As we go almost into the final 10 minutes here. 1-1. And the Slough fans down to our left just start to make a little bit of noise. There's a heavy touch there from Cook. He's worked very hard all day. You can't accuse him of anything else. He's put in a really good shift of whatever he's been asked to do.
Yes, he has.
Any comments or observations, please do contact us at MyFC Rebels Radio. How do you think this game is panning out? As Scott Harris picks the ball up on the halfway line, turns, 2 players around him, gets dragged back, tries to play a ball into the space there for Johnny Dyer, but it's just slightly overhit, trails out. Johnny Dyer appreciates it, but they're getting a little bit tired over there. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Slough decide to change one of the front 2, because they've put in a good shift, both of them. Yeah,
they could do. They have got subs warming up, so they could well be a sub for the last 8 minutes or so, and it could well be worth doing. When you look at Ben Watson that's come on for them, he buzzed around, especially early on. A fresh pair of legs usually does have an effect. Players don't know how to deal with them.
Yeah, as Darryl Thomas doesn't look like he's one of those that is warming up at the moment, as Moran hooks the ball up far. There's plenty of time and space there for Truro to get the ball under control and advance towards the Slough half, and it's going to be a long diagonal ball, searching out Cook, but Moran's underneath it, but Cook jumps well and highest, and now the ball's bouncing around, and it's fallen to Lowry, but he just his head is soft, and it just goes through to Somerville, and Somerville not in a particular rush to get this going, although now Johnny Dyer makes the run, but I think he's found only touch there from that, and it's gone out to White, and White steps over it, passes it all the way back to Moore, and Moore's going to have a couple of touches before he clears the ball up outright in the direction of Duff. Duff underneath it, but well won by Parsons, and Johnny Dyer has a touch. Pass it back to Dobson. Dobson has a run at the players. Does well, falls to Johnny Dyer. Johnny Dyer inside to Searsey. Searsey, 20 yards from goal, runs himself. He's running into the edge of the box. This is a chance to slide towards the far post, but beyond everybody. And now Fraser picks it up on the far side, all the way back to Tom Moran. Tom Moran looks to deliver the ball in towards the far post. It's hit off one of the defenders. It's an own goal! It's an own goal! That was an own goal, wasn't it?
Yes, it was an own goal. It was an own goal.
It was an own goal, but Johnny Dyer is celebrating.
Well, he harassed the defender.
It was off White. I'm pretty sure it was a White own goal.
I'll tell you when he turns round.
Yeah.
It's the guy looking as though he could ring the Samaritans any minute.
Ball in towards the far post from Tom Moran, whipped in, and it was going towards Johnny Dyer, but then it hit White.
Yeah.
And White, after all his excellent effort, it's hit him off his thigh and looped past Moore, and Slough have taken a 2-1 lead.
It was like the first goal against Bideford. It came across, there was nothing he could do about it. It hit him. But the ball before that went in, it went way in front of Scott Harris, and it went behind Sean Fraser. Nobody had a chance of getting it. And then Sean put it back in. And in a way I feel sorry for the defender, but I
think it's harsh on White because he's had a good game, but it was a good dangerous ball, and now we'll see what Truro are made of us. We've got 8 minutes to play plus injury time.
But Johnny was harassing him, couldn't do anything about it.
By Moran out from Slough. Slough might have to absorb quite a lot of pressure. How costly will that effort against the bar that was all around the goal line make earlier as the ball's bouncing around the edge of the box? Hollis does well. Now Slough have the opportunity to attack. Dobson set free. There's plenty of space. Dobson having a charge up against the Farkins, and Farkins has a touch. He's passed it back, and then he's blocked off Dobbo, and it was well won by Searsey, whose great run almost created that goal. He ghosted into the box, played it all the way across. It came all the way through to Fraser and then to Moran, and Moran has come on and played strongly so far. He's played the ball to Harris's feet. Harris's feet to try to chip the ball through to the very advanced right back now, and he's got to make his way back, but Fraser's covering for him as the game intensity has just gone up. It's a bit like a horse race. We're cantering towards the end.
Yes, it is. With 5 or 6 at the back now.
Yeah, Brett switches the ball out long, out left. Is it too far? No, he's kept it in well, and Long now will look to play the ball in towards the edge of the box. Watson turns. Strong tackle by Rhys Shawk. It looked like a penalty from here. Do you know?
He took the ball. He took the ball.
Then it was a strong tackle from here. It looked like Rhys Shawk got more man than ball, and a strong tackle from York, and now Johnny Dyer on the halfway line. Out to Searsey. Searsey calms things down. Simple ball out to Dobson. Slough just need to take a bit of the pace out of the ball. To be fair, the fans behind the goal weren't screaming or shouting too much as the long ball goes through to Johnny Dyer. He's offside. He's not going to go and get the ball. And Moore is now moving the fastest I've seen him move all afternoon. He certainly wasn't doing this in the first half.
And to be fair to the players, none of them complained. It was he had to make the challenge, and it was absolutely superb. We've got another.
It looks like Jesus is coming on. On comes Knighty and off goes Searsey. Searsey's had a good old run around today, but on comes Jesus. We'll have to see how Jesus' hair is.
Other religions are available. Other messiahs are available. 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, as we go into the final 6 minutes here at Truro Road, and Searsey not making any sort of immediate pains to get there, but there could be another goal in this game. But on comes Knighty.
I hope not. That's the goal, not Knighty coming on. I hope there isn't another goal in it.
As Knighty just telling Short what he expects of him, as Truro will look to get an equaliser and then potentially go on. And Rhys Short comes a long way, wins the header, only as far as White though. White repels it. It's bouncing around an awful lot, and it's hit Hollis out 20 yards from goal. This is going to be a free kick in a very dangerous position for Slough.
Well, that was a very similar free kick to the one where Dobbo scored, where the wall jumped up. So we've got to make sure we don't jump up.
So this is a little bit further out. It's just to the right-hand edge of goal, but it's 25 yards out. There's going to be a big wall. Summers is just taking his time to just see exactly where that is. And this is a real tense moment here. Can Slough repel this attacking free kick for Truro? It once again looks like their dead ball specialist. I think of Lowry still on the ball here. With his right foot would be my favourite. There's a 5-man Slough wall, 4-man Slough wall, with also one Truro player just on the left edge. I think that's where it's going to go. He might touch it sideways. It looks like Cook's lining up next to it. He's chipped it. It's up over the bar. It's hit the bar. And it's so unlucky. What great technique. And that's the second time the second time in the game the bar's come to Slough rescue.
That was a very, very well taken free kick over the right-hand side of the wall. The wall did nothing wrong. It was very well taken. It just didn't dip enough. Possibly Jake might well have got to that one had it been a little bit lower, but I wouldn't put money on it. Thank goodness we're still 2-1 up.
We go into the final 4 minutes. 4 minutes of injury time here. Final 4 minutes of the game. Slough management teeth. John Underwood, I can see biting his nails.
And our chairman's making a racket below us.
And cleared long, but now it's fallen to Fraser. Fraser back to Moran. And chip forward, but well repelled by Pugh. He's hardly put a foot wrong all game. He's now got Scott Harris in there, and Scott Harris has blocked the ball twice. Fraser won't be able to keep that in. Oh, he has. He's kept it in on the very far side. He's playing it short. Slough is slowing it down. They've still got 5 minutes going. Scott Harris is in a dark corner, just where he likes to get it, and he's been pushed over, and now Fraser's in on it. And Fraser's driving towards goal. Where's Johnny Dyer going to go? Oh, pulls it back, but now Truro have the opportunity to break quickly with numbers. Urgency here from Truro now as they drive a long ball forward, and it's over the top of Reshort. Reshort getting a little shove on his way there from Duff, but hooked clear, and now Moran's going to have the opportunity to chip the ball forward. Johnny Dyer on halfway line shoulders the ball out in the direction of Scott Harris, but it doesn't quite come off.
If he'd have back-headed that, then Scott could well have been
ball hooked forward by Brett, flicked on by Cook, all the way through, and Somerville's coming off his line, and he wasn't communicated by York, and he's done well. He just ran all the way around, pursued by Watson, but that was almost one of those heart-stopping moments where you think you've headed it past your own player.
Yes, it was. Luckily, it was heading towards the corner flag rather than the goal, but it still could have been a corner, and the last thing we want's a corner. And
Somerville's clearance only finds White, the scorer of the crucial goal in this game. Not that he wanted to do it, and not at the end that he wanted, as Dobson flicks the ball on, and now Knight has his first touch of the ball, hooks the ball over, and it has Harris interested, and Harris is after it, but well headed back there by Long. Long back to Moore, and Moore wasting no time with a signed wider kick. Only finds Short. Short hooks the ball forward, and Harris has got back on side, but it's going all the way through to Moore. We've played 43 minutes here. 2 minutes plus injury time remaining.
Yeah, he couldn't go for that. He was offside. He just stood his ground. He knew if he went for it, he was flagged offside.
Rich Short comes through strongly, wins the header, only as far as White. White back into the centre of the field, and chipped forward by Lowry. Ball bouncing around the edge of the box. George Short's down with, I'm not sure whether it's a head injury or he's hurt himself, but he's got himself up. He's making his way back as Truro continue to attack. They just get a little bit unlucky there, and Fraser clips the ball forward. And George Short's still down. George Short's still down. And the referee ignored the head injury for quite a while, to the extent that George Short is normally... There's definitely some head injury because there's some claret on view. There's quite a lot of blood on view from George, so he might be visiting A&E, I would suspect.
But I think he was waiting to see whether there was any claret, and I don't think he could see it at first. There's also a Truro player got a bang on the head on the far side, but he has stopped him for the George Short injury. But yes, you're right, there is some claret.
Cornell is getting stripped. This drama at the end here, it's already eaten away a minute of normal time.
Our chairman below is turning away and pacing up and down. He can't look at the moment.
Young Steve just can't quite watch at the moment. He's pacing himself around. We haven't had a trip this far for a few old years now, but he's fiddling with his hair. He's there. He's almost out there kicking every ball. As George Short's just getting plenty of treatment, and this is certainly going to add some injury time, but it gives Slough just a little bit of an opportunity to get some words into the players. George Short on his knees now, having his head injury treated. There's plenty of claret in there, but Knight just on the back of him, and Johnny Dyer now going to have a word, going to get a drink from the management team on the far side as we go into injury time here.
I think it's the eyebrow, something like that.
This is the second week in succession he's had a count on the head.
Yeah, well, I think it might be the same place. He's certainly holding. He's certainly holding an ice pack to his head, and maybe he won't take any further part.
Yeah, they look to be getting Cornell stripped and ready to go quickly, so it'll be interesting. I suspect they'll put Johnny Dyer back in there. Cornell might even go back in there. They may just chuck bodies in just to do a different job for a few minutes. Cornell is getting stripped though, and Kev's coming off.
We're now in 30 seconds overtime, but of course we've had the injuries.
I think we're probably going to have a good 5 minutes more than this.
So a good 5.
Hang on, folks, and we'll see how Slough.
Hang on to your seats.
As Cornell comes on, Cornell comes on, and then it's going to be interesting to see. Do Truro give the ball back to Slough? Does Slough give the ball back to Truro? There's all sorts of discussion about who's going to have the ball.
Oh, there's 6 of them gathered round now. They're all pushing and shoving.
Luke Knight's kicking the ball.
Referee,
Luke Knight's been on barely 5 minutes, so they're now.
I think the referee actually wants a proper drop ball by the looks of it, but
Johnny Dyer's going to kick the ball back. Johnny Dyer's going to kick the ball back. And that's sporting. It's good. The game's been played in reasonable spirit. There's no need to sour it all now.
No, he's played it towards the corner flag as well, just to, cause it's in play and just waste a little bit of time.
It wasn't as bad as Yetton's. I don't think you saw it, but Yetton's at Weymouth, where he kicked the ball directly out of play, deliberately past Somerville, which was a bit infuriating for them. Although Slough were down. The ball's bouncing around on the edge of the Slough box. Plenty of players underneath it. It's going dangerous into the area. Hooked away well by Fraser. And now Johnny Dyer, who seems to be in almost like a right wing-back position, drives the ball up the line. It's just out of play, and there'll be, I would think, 4 or 5 minutes still to play here. It's anybody's guess. We've played 47 minutes. Ball's on the halfway line, with Truro playing it from side to side of the back. White, the own goal scorer, inside his own half on his D, launches a long ball forward out towards Cook. Cook does well to control it. Plays it back to White, to Long. Long drives the ball across field. Flick well back in, and then no nonsense from Hollis. Hollis nearly found me. His sunglasses have fallen down. Everything's gone dramatically wrong. As Truro back underway quickly. Ash on the halfway line across to Pugh. Pugh advancing. Lowry now with the ball. Chips the ball in towards the far post. Hollis comes around the back well, and there's nothing doing there. That's just a man's game. It's physical strength there, and Hollis battling away with Farkins on the far side, concedes the corner. Farkins is in no mood to take it Farkin lying down.
No, he isn't. But there was nothing in it. Again, it's all come from the crowd wanting a penalty. Players were quite happy. It was a fair challenge, and so was I, to be honest.
Lowry now with an out-swinging corner. Are Slough going to pay the penalty at the last moment? We played 48 minutes here. He signals. He drives it in towards the far post. Cornell flicks it up in the air. It's still in the box. Flicked out by York. Hooked up by Johnny Dyer and away. And only Moore's going to contain it. Slough not really making much ground. Moore's in acres in his own half. Poor clearance off the ground. Headed back, not forward by Ash. And now Cornell takes a heavy touch. And now Ash and Cornell. Ash handballs the ball. And he just had a little handball in there, which will relieve the pressure. Slough eating away the seconds. We played 49 minutes.
Well, that was very silly. At least
2 or 3 more.
Yeah, that's just relieved the pressure. We're now in no rush. We've sent Cornell and Dobbles on this side.
Johnny Dyer should want that. It's been
and Scott Harris.
Scott Harris was stupid there. He's gone straight offside. And,
silly boy.
It's not from there. They can slow it down as much as they like. But Moore will have an opportunity to get the ball forward here. Moore drives the ball forward that's it, and Slough have got a famous victory on the road, and Steve is very, very happy. Steve, stop pacing around for 1 minute. And Steve's ever so happy because that's a hell of a long trip, and they've come away with 3 points, which you've travelled all this way, must be amazing.
I think it was probably just about deserved as well. It was an unfortunate own goal, but I think on the balance of the second half, yes, we were a slightly better side, and they looked a little bit rattling. You can see Truro complaining to the referee for whatever reason now.
Arguing with the referee, I'm not sure.
But we were the better team.
And certainly the Slough fans are just making their voices heard as they go and support the players, and Moore's just shaking hands with plenty of the players. A lot of the Truro players are going around the referee and just not necessarily that happy, I don't think. And maybe it's about that one that was bouncing over the line, on the line, we don't know. But amazingly, from again a position of being a goal down at half time against a team from the southwest, Slough have come back and they have won.
Yeah, and it's a long journey back, but it's a nice journey back for us. I mean, you know, we think it's hard coming down here, but Truro are doing this every other week, apart from Bideford. You know, they're travelling 200 miles to Bristol, and when you think they've got to go to Slough and Cambridge and all these places, it's very, very hard for them. But we've done extremely well.
So it's all.
We're getting a few waves from the players now up in here. There's 1 or 2 smiling faces.
Yeah, and we're going to sign off till next week. We're going to wish you all well. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we wish you all a happy Saturday, and we'll speak to you next Wednesday. So, bienvenue and goodbye.